Hello, everybody, and welcome to FMK Anime. I'm your host, Meep, also known as SoulKing777. You can find me at my Twitter or at the official FMK Twitter, where you can hear me shouting about my OC as well as cute lesbians. I'm joined here by my father, Dalaron, and my brother, Gilly. Say hi, you two.
Hello, son. Now, before that actually gets misconstrued, I am not anyone's, to my knowledge, father. At least, like I said, to my knowledge, squints at Meep. Uh,
But are you
Waiting
anybody's
for that child to.
daddy?
well, that's a different topic of discussion. Hi, welcome. If you're watching this live with us, you're already here and where you need to be. If you're watching the VOD or on YouTube, you can catch us going live every Monday doing this right now. Schedule, possibly open to change. But anyway, twitch.tv Dalaron Quest. That's twitch.tv/DALARON Quest, where you can catch me playing through Outer Worlds right now when chat isn't behaving like a bunch of degenerates. I see you, chat. I see you.
You can also find him at Edward Bosco VA on Twitter.
No, let's not plug people who aren't here. That's rude.
I know, I'm making a joke.
Gilly, say
Though I
hi
did
to chat.
Hi to chat.
I'm gonna boost your volume because you're quiet.
By the way, I did watch the.
Well, I had to reduce my decibels so I wouldn't echo anymore, Dalaron.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm just boosting your volume. Let me know how he
So,
sounds now, chat.
I did watch the newest Jujutsu
My
dub.
options are either be heard and echo or not be heard and don't echo. Those are my choices.
But Dalaran, the reason I made that joke is because in the new Jujutsu dub, I found out which character he plays. You know the guy from episode 4, the glasses guy that doesn't want to get bullied by Nanami?
Edward Bosco plays the basically the pencil pusher.
I'm fairly certain it's him. It sounds a lot like him.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I know he plays some character in this show, because he was showed in the casting.
Interesting. Well, duly noted. So, shall we
That I
begin,
made.
boys?
Begin what?
Well,
You're
I still have to
suffering.
explain the name of the game.
Ah, of course. And big shout out, of course, as always, to Team 4 Star for creating this format and giving us their blessing to continue it.
Yeah. Yes, and as we are ramping up quickly to the end of the season, we will soon be after we do our retrospective where we choose which show we're going to marry. Now, I haven't chosen yet, but I have a good idea of the ones I've narrowed it down to. We're soon, not next week, but the week after, we're going to be doing a retrospective where we look at all the shows that have died as well as the ones that are alive, and we're going to get down on one knee and propose to one of them. And
Hey, chat.
as
I want to hear chat's predictions for everyone. Who's gonna marry what?
you know what? Yeah, who's gonna marry what, chat?
I've got bad knees. Can I just not do that?
Nope. You gotta splurge for a ring. You squalid fuck.
Yeah, but if I get down on a knee, I'm not gonna be able to get back up again.
Yeah, well then you live there, on your knees, where you
Ooh, you think we're
belong.
all gonna marry Jujutsu Kaisen? Okay.
Everyone marries Jujutsu or Sherlock Holmes, of course.
You know, can I say my predictions, my two co-hosts?
Sure. I won't tell you if you're right or wrong. I have my heart set on one or a few things.
Dalaran, I think you're gonna marry Kuma 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 Bear, and Gilly, I think you're gonna marry Yukoku no Moriarty. That's my prediction.
Gilly looks next to Kuma Kuma Bear, shushing them, saying that he can't. That pointing to me, saying he can't know. Oh, okay. He's Lucas wrote Dark Sherlock Holmes, of course, but I read it as Dark Sherlock Homies, and I kind of love it.
That's a Will
My
Ferrell
mind
comment.
is my mind is an enigma. Nobody knows what I think.
That's it. That's next week's episode name. Dark Sherlock Homies.
No, Dalaran, you don't understand. There was a Will Ferrell comedy movie called Holmies, the king of middle-aged women's comedy. Strike.
What's on the first show today, Meep?
Well, I still have to explain how the game works. We're just vamping. As well, the other thing I was going to say is the week after that, we will be doing our first award ceremony, where I will have some fun things prepared, some nominated things, as well as some surprises, maybe, depending on if an article gets back to me.
Cue the air horns and the sound.
Yes, I will also be borrowing a wedding ring, so stay tuned for that. And as well, each week we watch a list of anime. At the end of each episode, we can cut one anime, but only one. We decide if we're gonna kill or fuck a show in the fuck, marry, kill format. And if we get a tie, it goes to a wheel. We can do a thing for other tiebreakers later in the future, but as of now, we're just gonna keep it to a wheel. And with that, we have our first show on the docket. With this, I believe I'm ready to move into Adachi to Shimamura episode 10. Adachi to Shimamura episode 10. In this, the new semester starts, and Shimamura stops hanging out with Nakafuji and Hino, and Adachi starts avoiding her when she sees her with new artificial friends. Nakafuji visits Hino's house, and Shimamura further continues to reconnect with Tarumi. Could I just say, to start off, I really liked the Nakafuji and Hino stuff we got this episode.
Yeah, let's talk about first. Let's talk about that first. So that was so sexual, cute. Right?
Yes, I have been saying this since they started teasing it.
No. There was hints and strong waves of romance and affection there, but the bath scene was sexual. For the first time in this whole show, it felt kind of sexual.
Yes, but in a tasteful way, I found.
Yeah, it wasn't lewd and fan servicey. I mean, Nagafuji, while being quite developed for her age, is still, steamed out and grayed out and not done up like a pinup girl. But yeah, the consent has finally been given, and Hino is not only allowed, but made to grab the boobies.
Mm-hmm. It was really soft, and it was really cute, and it was just the build up to a scene. It wasn't just fruit tart-esque, oh, suddenly she starts groping her. There was actual build up to it, and there's been a whole show of build up to it. This has been the cutest relationship build in this show, and fuck, I think I like their relationship dynamic more than Adachi and Shimamura, and that's saying a lot, because we got some good Adachi and Shimamura this episode.
I'll touch back upon the Adachi and Shimamura, but yeah, Meep, you've been saying you like the relationship between Hino and Nagafuji more pretty much since the first time they showed them hanging out at Nagafuji's place. Also, Hino's apparently a descendant from a high-standing family in Japan because they live in an actual palace, a proper Japanese palace.
Yeah, and she doesn't like being a noble woman.
Stop jingling your keys.
That's the cat that keeps batting them around. I'm trying to get her to leave.
Just gotta sit down and say sternly, but softly but sternly, you can't be here right now. You have to leave.
Just get her water bowl and pour some liquor in it. She'll sleep.
No.
No. But it's my vodka.
There really isn't much more to say on the matter. It's just, it's interesting to see them develop on a more the thing about Hino and Nagafuji is that I feel like they are intended to be kind of this, parallel example to Adachi and Shimamura's relationship, which is much messy because they get a lot less screen time to develop, but they are developing in a more coherent manner. While the situation between Adachi and Shimamura is, understandably and intentionally so, messier.
Yeah. Like, this episode, Adachi is really excited because she's worried that Shimamura will stop hanging out with her if they're not in the same class, which we saw in this episode. Shimamura apparently does that. Each year she has artificial friends, and that year's was Nakafuji and Hino, apparently.
Yeah, can we talk about the fact that she blatantly calls other people artificial friends?
Yeah,
That's
toxic.
yeah,
Because Shimamura has been a toxic person.
I don't think Shimamura is toxic. Just because someone has toxic behavior does not make them toxic. We like to throw around the term toxic and toxicity because willy-nilly. There's a difference between being actually toxic and just, experiencing, complexes, disorders, problematic behavior. So I still hesitate. Well, then again, like, my main perspective from Shimamura is towards Adachi, or from Adachi's perspective, so I guess she is better to her. But yeah, problematic, like huge red flag when someone is just sitting there talking to people and being like, okay, you are the people I will pretend to be friends with this semester so that, like, I don't come off weird, or, people don't think I don't socialize. To actively call someone your art, like, to acknowledge mentally that these are my artificial friends, that is fucking. I've been talking about this throughout the whole FMK season. Shimamura, very much detached. Intimacy insecurities, their own sense of, like, disassociation from society and kind of social norms to a concerning degree. To a concerning degree in this episode. Not in the actions that she takes, but in what they imply. And also just straight up depressed. Like, Hogetsu Shimamura is a depressed person. 100%. So it's interesting to it's interesting to see this just be. Anyway, we can continue the conversation. This episode puts a lot of things out there, like, says it blatantly, where before it was only kind of talked around or hinted at.
Yeah, and in a way, it makes her similar to Adachi because Adachi is disconnected. She doesn't have many friends other than Shimamura, except Adachi doesn't fake or make artificial friends. She just stays disconnected into herself. Which is why I get along so well.
Yeah, because they both ring genuine, and they kind of find both validity and also, like, solace in one another, which is a very good and actually healthy aspect of the relationship from two people that don't exactly have a healthy mental health profile, and also who are just, not always the best at handling other people and social situations. Like, the other girls say it straight up, and this is a common trope where people see someone who has, like, social anxiety in, like, high school and middle school, and they see that they're atypical in terms of their social behavior, or they're anxious or whatever it may be, and they're like, oh, that person just keeps to themselves and is always quiet. They don't want to be friends with anyone. They're so standoffish. And they straight up say it about Adachi, when in reality, Adachi's just sitting there thinking that, like, there's really no one who wants to be her friend. And, like, that's a crushing feeling. It is a crushing feeling to think that nobody wants you in their life, especially at that age. And that stays with you. Unless you, like, you either have experiences that work it out or you seek therapy.
Mm-hmm. And as someone that has gone through, heart-crushing, soul-crushing, the friendship ending things before, I won't get too much into it, but yeah, no, I heavily feel for Adachi, and on a level Shimamura, except Shimamura, it's a bit odd for me to try and grasp at it, but I understand what the show's going with, and we see that Adachi, like they straight up say, like, yeah, Adachi has changed from when she was in middle school, and now we see her. She's like Shimura's little puppy, and we get the Snapchat filter. Woof, and it was so cute.
It was cute, and Adachi having a pet fetish dynamic confirmed. Pet dynamic fetish confirmed.
I don't know if she even coherently knows what that is, Dalaran. They're
Listen,
15, no, 16 now, actually.
you are not allowed to be the only one that makes sex jokes in this group.
I know. I know.
Squid. Squint.
But the Snapchat filter was so adorable. Like, because it's just, to give context to everyone, it was just Adachi and Shimura talking, and then Shimura's like, "You are such a puppy, Adachi." And then we just see, like, Adachi's face change to be this excited puppy going, "Whoa!"
It was cute. It was super cute. And it was funny because
And
Adachi's like, I'm not your puppy. And then, like, runs away. And then Shimomura is just genuinely just like, oh, but I really like dogs. Like, it's that awkward stiltedness that was just really just fun.
Is it bad that that was the best laugh I've had this season? Like, more than the Jujutsu Kaisen penis joke?
Really? Well, I mean, the penis joke is one thing, but like, yeah, I mean, hey, we all have a different taste in comedy. Points at Kuma Bear.
I loved it. It was just out of nowhere. It was like, whoa! And I sat there giggling like a schoolgirl.
Cute.
It was one of those things that hits you out of left field.
Yeah, it was a
Then,
good one. But like, that's the thing before you said, like, I really enjoyed, I'm enjoying the relationship, and we got, like, really good, more so than Adachi and Shimomura, and, like, when we got some really good Adachi Shimomura, we got a lot of Shimomura this episode, and we got Shimomura and Tarumi, her childhood.
yeah. And Tarumi wants to be friends with Shimamura again.
Yeah. Also, Tarumi's really pretty.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, she dresses in a more, like, mature or, like, adult style, like, more like designer clothes and more like just, better accessorized and composed. And she travels outside of the neighborhood or like out of the town often. But when she's with Shimomura, she's so childish, like, and not in a bad way. It's not like she's being, well, I guess there's a level of immaturity, but she's like, she talks really fast and like she trails off and she loses her train of thought. And it's cute. It's like a different dynamic introduced to it.
To give of the characters I identify with the most in this show, and this is why I actually really started to like Tarumi this episode, and it's purely because of bias. I completely know what it's like to fall out of contact with a friend, albeit it was for about a year, or maybe not even a year. It's like, I don't know how long it was, but, and then, finally speaking with them again, and you're trying to force yourself to, be to be what they want. I had that happen to me, and it wasn't for as long as it's implied to happen to them for, but it was still like on and off. I talked with that friend after something happened, and it was always I really enjoyed talking with them, hanging out, but I still had to force myself to try and be someone I wasn't at that time. I'm a lot better now. Like, I'm actually being myself now, but I just heavily identify with Tarumi.
Yeah, it's hard. One of the hardest things to grasp in life in general is loss, and you need to accept the fact that eventually people move on. And I'm speaking from personal experiences when I say, like, there's someone blasting music outside while driving by, because fuck everyone else.
Well, we can't hear it, so don't worry.
Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, it's knowing that not everyone is meant, acknowledging and accepting the fact that not everyone is meant to stay in your life. You will make friends and have good times with people, but it's only like going to last a few months, a few years. You never know, and all the more reason to just enjoy your time together while you have it, without making it so that you need to be not everyone needs to have a permanent place in your life, basically, is what I'm saying, and that's okay. But these characters, these teenagers, are just still coming to terms with acknowledging that, let alone accepting it. So there's
Yeah.
Tarmi's anxiety.
Just don't call them artificial friends, because they're still friends. They're not fucking artificial. They're not robots walking around.
I don't know. Those three girls are weird. I thought they were gonna like talk to Shimomura because they saw her hanging out with Adachi, and then start talking shit about Adachi. Like that's where I thought it was gonna go. Like we're gonna get some
I'm
Mean
happy they
Girls.
didn't. I am happy they didn't.
Yeah, yeah. They still seem weird to me, but like Shimomura doesn't give a shit about them at all.
You thought they were gonna shank her in the shower, take her lunch money? Yeah,
I
those
don't know
kind
what
of girls.
I don't know what Mean Girls you watched, but
I watched American Dad.
okay. But yeah, we've been going on about the show for a bit, and I think at this point everyone knows Gilly's position towards this show. But let Gilly. What do you think of this episode? Would you care to tell us?
Same that I always feel. Pain.
What was that?
Feel the same about this episode I do about all of them. Pain.
Without love?
Pain. I can't get enough.
This show isn't deserving of that.
I used to listen to 3 Days Grace regularly when I was a kid. I watched Pokemon AMVs.
It's not even deserving of that reference.
You can't see me, but I'm nodding.
I
This
remember
show,
watching.
this show
Sorry.
makes me want to die, but I want to take it with me first.
Well, Gilly, is that your vote?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna fuck this show. Big surprise. It continues to be very human, very well written, and very, very, like, not heartwarming. What's the word I'm looking for? Very passionate about the story it's telling. This is definitely someone coming from a place of self-experience, someone that has felt this on maybe more than just one end. Maybe they felt it on both ends, or maybe they were in Adachi's place or Shimomura's place. I don't know, but you can tell this artist has put a lot of love and care into the story, or not the artist, the mangaka, and I love it. It shines through. That's what things like what was a show from last season? It was like that anime that was about the girl with the average powers, but she was strong because it was dragons also were in the average.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I thought I asked you to give me an average life in the new world or my new life or something like that.
It's things like that that shows like that are missing. It's missing the love and passion. Like where those shows, they're just kind of shat out by the industry. That's what a lot of isekai are nowadays. They're just shat out by the industry. Okay, this kind of genre is making a lot of money. It's time to go with that. But this shows like this, shows like Jujutsu Kaisen, shows like Yukoku no Moriarty, they have actual love and passion put into them by the mangaka. And you can really tell when a show has that. You can really tell when a show has that. And I love it. I'm fucking this show.
There
I'm
is
not
a
even
lot
gonna
of.
do my stepdad spiel.
This is a very good season of anime in general. We're getting some incredibly quality stories and content. And whatever it be, like the mangaka, the original writer, whatever the source may be, manga, original, light novel, there's a lot of moments in this season, a lot of shows that are on the list still that just really ring true with that. So I agree with you.
Yeah, there are four good shows this season.
Yeah. To be fair, the comparison of this show and the other show, I forgot. Like I thought I asked for an average life in the New World. I like that show. I thought it was cute moe isekai fluff, but again, not your cup of tea. But also like hard to compare those two. But regardless, I too I'm gonna keep fucking the show. I'm fucking this episode. It's just like Meep said, I can't really add more than that. It's just it does its characters incredibly well, and it does the topics it's discussing justice. This isn't the most psychological and cerebral show. They're not fully digging into and like delving into the subject matter, but they use it in a realistic and genuine way, and it makes its characters and their interactions also come across as genuine and or like organic, which makes people uncomfortable. And I think that is a test. I still think I'm sorry that you have to suffer through 30 minutes of us talking about this show, Gilly, but like, or 20 minutes, but like, I find it admirable. Also, at the end, the episode ends with Adachi like asserting her feelings, being like, "Shimamura, you're not coming to me, so I miss." We don't know what's gonna happen, but like I'm thinking she's gonna be like, "Oh, Shimamura, I miss you." Like, fuck you. Let's hang out.
We didn't even touch on that. Yeah, I think next episode is where she's gonna finally tell Shimamura how she feels. But we'll see next week.
Well, it's episode 11, so it's gotta happen unless it's on the finale.
Yeah.
Which I hope it doesn't. I hope it does show up next. Oh, there was one more point I was going to make about this episode. In other episodes in other sessions of FMK with us, you mentioned that this show is being really, really earnest to its loyal to its adaptation like it goes panel to panel, and this episode definitely felt like we did the time skip to like the next semester, and just like I picked up a new chapter of manga where there's like a leap in content and I have to kind of fill in the missing gap, because it felt a little bit, I don't know, it felt like I came back to a game I haven't played in a while when this episode started.
As far as I can tell, this show has been panel to panel of the light novel, like how Jujutsu Kaisen has been. So
yeah, so I definitely felt a little lost, and I've definitely, when reading manga, specifically romance and relationship manga like Tora to wow, what's the
they've been building up to the new semester for a while. So
yeah, I guess
I just imagine they didn't cover much of the summer break in the manga, just because not much happens during summer break.
lies, but okay. Man,
Well,
what's that anime with the palm tiger?
Yukoki
Toradora.
no Moriarty. Oh,
Moriarty with the palm tiger?
I thought you were setting me up for. I thought you were setting me up for the next show.
No. But yes, uh, let's see what the next episode comes, because I personally would love to see this what you said happen next episode, and then we just have episode 12 of them being a couple. I would love that. It would be such a payoff. Speaking of couples and shipping people, though,
Yukoku no Moriarty, episode 10, Sherlock and Watson. Best couple. Sherlock has been suffering from a form of depression from his newfound fame, as he would like to chase down the mastermind, but has no leads. He goes to York to investigate a death, but finds nothing. He fights with Watson and ends up on a train with Moriarty, where a murder occurs, and they start a contest on who can solve it first. However, Watson comes out with a bloody wound, or covered in blood, question mark? Yeah, no, is he wounded, or is he just covered in blood? I couldn't really tell.
Gilly, what do you think?
I think I was confused for a lot of this episode.
Really?
The first, like, half of it was him just tripping out, going back and forth, like I was seeing the same flashback 7 times over.
Yeah, they used the hope scene a lot this episode, to the point where I was confused why were we starting off where we left off last week.
Yeah,
It got me
though
so confused in the beginning. I actually had a headache by the time it started changing things up, and it was hard to focus.
I still can't believe Sherlock was high as balls while playing the violin so well.
I don't think that was an opium cigarette. I mean, it could have
It,
been, but I thought
it
he
was
was just smoking.
it was a roll. It was a rolled cigarette, so I thought it was weed or something.
Nah, not that time period.
Ah, okay. I thought weed existed
Lee,
for longer.
he was definitely on something,
Yeah.
which I appreciated, but it was so confusing in the beginning.
I I didn't find myself that confused aside from the start where I thought we were ending off where we did last week, but I guess that might just been me. Though, yeah,
I liked it because you said he was in a depressive spell. It was more like he was frustrated and was like stuck dealing with mundanity that now because he never wanted the popularity. He just wanted to solve mysteries and have a living. In fact, I can't even say that he wanted a living wage because he was more. That's how Watson came into the picture because he was not making enough money to pay his rent to. I forgot her name, Mrs. Hudson. Yes. But yeah,
yeah.
no, he was fighting his own inner demons. He wants to be a good person, but he has his own weaknesses and impulse control issues. And that's what I think all those scenes with Hope, where there was a part of him that really wished he pulled the trigger, where he himself is like facing the fact that he isn't perfect and that he has this blaring flaw, and that as his boredom grows more and more, he starts wanting to just he becomes less like in the moment when he solved the case, he was riding the high of solving the case, right? He had his satisfaction. He had undone the mystery. But as weeks pass of him getting nothing but just like mundane cases, his resolve in himself and his satisfaction, mentally is waning, and as a result, we see a lot of Sherlock's flaws come out from the drug use to the emotional lash outs he has to the very fact that he is wishing actively frustrated that he doesn't know and would he openly said he would go back and kill him if he had known it would take this long.
hmm Like he even goes to York, which I I'm not familiar with England. Is York a faraway place from where Sherlock lives?
From London? Not too far.
Okay, because when I heard York, I started thinking New York, and I'm like, whoa, whoa! I don't think a train goes to America there, Sherlock.
We got the water train.
Ah,
Yeah, no, York
What is
York
this,
is an
One
old region
Piece?
of England, and that's where the New York comes from.
hmm but yeah, no, the it was. I actually liked this episode. Just like seeing Sherlock's character. I forgot that this show was called Yukoku no Moriarty because we've got nothing but Sherlock for the past 3 episodes, and I'm okay with that. I think more shows should do that with antagonists. Is give episodes dedicated only to the antagonist.
It was good, and I mean, Sherlock is the basis of the content. Also, Gilly, you wanted to say something before?
Hmm?
I thought I heard you saying something
You
before,
said
but
One Piece when I mentioned the train
You,
boat.
when you talked about Water Train, I said, "What is this, One Piece?"
uh,
but yeah, I'm
I
personally
forget.
really glad to finally get the violence scene in Sherlock. Like that's one of my favorite aspects of the character, and seeing how it's expressed. The violin is a very expressive instrument. If you ever see anyone playing it, it's beautiful to watch. Just so much emotion in both the body language and the expression, as well as the music itself. So seeing him crash and just start playing the violin as his demons roared, and the ferocity of the scene growing and growing with the music until the string snaps, and him looking shocked, and then just the still that's on right now, just the contempt on his face for himself and everything around him. It's just the duality of man.
I got sad when he lashed out at Watson. I felt bad for Watson.
Of course. Also, Watson looks like anyone else get the feeling like Watson looks like Jonathan Joestar?
I have not seen JoJo, so
How dare you? You do an anime podcast and you've never watched JoJo's? Get out of here.
I've also never watched a Studio Ghibli film.
Okay, are you trying for chat to like burn you at the stake? Because that's a criminal offense in some countries.
I mean, I'm trying to look at Lestrade and figure out how the man stays so cut.
Yeah, we got Lestrade to come along just hanging out with Sherlock and Watson, which I thought was weird. Gilly, you're the Sherlock expert. Does that normally happen in the story?
A lot of I mean, they've done him pretty well with like a lot of the modern interpretations. He always has this bit of respect for Sherlock, but he's annoyed by his methods and the fact that, in all fairness, he is a better detective than him, and he hates it.
Oh,
And
I'm
he
just
ends up getting dragged along because he's kind of easily convinced, which is always another modern interpretation that I always appreciate.
mm.
don't mind me, Sherlock. I'm just gonna go get a newspaper. Ha ha ha! Where can I get a fucking bourbon around here? I can so see either Chris Sabat or Kronk's voice actor playing Lestrade. Maybe Chris Sabat does voice Kronk. I'm not sure.
No, it's someone else. I forgot his name, but yeah. Um, yeah, no, it's yeah, seeing him dragged around and like he gets his haircut done at a barber shop nearby Sherlock. Oh, speaking of that scene, I know that scene. That scene has played out in Sherlock, and it's played out in another Sherlock property I've seen, which I can't recall the name of my at the moment. And I was in BBC's Sherlock when he fires the bullets into the walls because he was going mad trying to solve the problem. That's when the bullets hit the wall in a way that kind of hinted him, that helped him click something in his mind and hinted him in the way of like solving the mystery. But here he did it. Everyone came running. Mrs. Hudson with a frying pan and a pot on her head, adorable. And
Uh,
but there were no bullet holes in the wall, which was a little disappointing to me.
no, I thought there were.
I didn't see any. You, Gilly?
Scene passed too fast for me to notice.
Fair.
I swore I saw bullet holes in a painting. Because I remember actively saying, "Why the fuck would you shoot the painting?
Because
Why not just shoot
Because
the wall?"
he wasn't thinking about that.
I was thinking about Moriarty's dick.
Speaking of, well, let's get back to Watson since we didn't address it. Speaking of, they would be such good friends if everything that isn't happening is happening. Catch me if you can, Mr. Holmes. Like, what a shit Moriarty is. What a shit.
And Lewis is wanting to, just kill Moriarty, or not Moriarty, kill Sherlock right there. And Moriarty's just feeding into it.
I love the shock that both Sherlock and Lewis have on their face when Moriarty just the way he responds, because Sherlock is just like, you were suspicious on the boat, let me corner you, and Lewis is like, fuck, this is really bad. If he says he's wrong, then he's basically admitting to like, like you're basically admitting to like, if you say like, oh, I didn't do that, I was this and this, and then like you're basically admitting to knowing more about the scene than you would. And then William is just like, well, I can't. No one can prove something that they haven't done, so that's a false line of reasoning for me to go down, which I won't even bother. And, and I'm just like, it's amazing where he's just like, that's an entertaining theory you have there, Mr. Holmes. And I'm just like, ha 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 ha. And then he wants Sherlock after him. He needs him to be, so he just throws him that whole thing where he's just like, oh, catch me if you can, Mr. Holmes. Would you like hearing something like that, Mr. Detective? And then just Sherlock gets a mental boner.
they've really set up the dynamic, the relationship, the challenge between the two main characters just like I wanted them to. It's a battle of wills, it's a battle of minds, it's great. They set it up
My
the way I wanted them to set it up.
Sorry for anyone that heard that noise. The chair that a bunch of my stuff was set on just fell apart.
Well, it didn't come up on the recording, but spooky, scary Chelemans.
It's
Cherimans.
okay. I just had my keys and a bag of chips on there.
Well, put those somewhere safe away from the cats so they don't make more noise.
Yeah, no, I love... Like, it makes me sad whenever we don't see much from the other side characters, like Albert or Lewis. Like, this is the most Lewis has gotten since episode 3, so...
Which is barely saying anything.
Yeah, I want Lewis and Albert to get more, but at the same time, it would take away from Moriarty and Sherlock, which I don't know what I would want more.
They did set up some stuff with Albert and then just sort of haven't used him much. Lewis has always just kind of been there, and I've been fine with that.
Yeah.
Albert, I'm sad about because they really did stuff for him, and then just kind of he's just not done anything since.
Like the way in the first episode, he was just right. They used him just right.
In episode 3 is still the best episode of the show, in my opinion. And they don't really use them much, which I understand why, because it would take away from the Sherlock and Moriarty dynamic if they had to spend more screen time on those other two. And I'm wrestling to try and figure out what I would like more of. If I'd like more of the side characters, or if I want this whole dynamic to stay the same.
I mean, they're both charismatic in their own like chaotic way. I just want to see more characters. I love character designs, character writing, and character storytelling, so I want to see more of that come to pass in the show, which is why it's a shame when you have such a strong character as Albert, which the show has established but isn't doing anything with. So it's a pity. It's a bit of a waste.
But other than that, we hear a man has been murdered, which Sherlock and Moriarty rush to the scene, and Sherlock challenges Moriarty to figure out, let's have a race to see who can solve the case first.
And then Moriarty turns around and is like, yes, that does sound interesting, but it might be more complicated than you think. And then Watson comes out covered in blood, which I think the assumption is that Watson was the one who committed the murder. I think he's covered in blood. I don't think Watson is dying. But if Watson is dying, this is going to be a literal race. If Watson isn't dying, I believe this is William testing their relationship as well as testing Watson as a character, because I don't think he expected Watson as part of the equation when he was sizing Sherlock up initially.
I honestly, I kind of do want this to be a coincidence where it isn't them. I kind of want this to be a coincidence where Moriarty didn't plan for this, because I'd love to see Moriarty tackle something that he didn't plan for.
Nah.
Because we've seen him tackle things that he has had planned. This would be a first for the series. Something unexpected happened. I want to see him deal with it.
He's too composed. What do you say, Gilly?
What do I say about what? I do not know what was even being talked about. That just got confusing.
Do you think Watson's wound well, actually, the blood on Watson, is it a wound or do you think Moriarty is trying to implicate him as the murderer? Which is silly because he has such a resolve for not killing.
I don't think he's wounded because from what I remember, he wasn't particularly gripping anywhere that looked like he was holding a wound. And also, I don't even know if he's being implicated. He's a doctor. He might have just found a body.
But the door is locked, so there's no way to get in.
That doesn't mean he didn't just find it. The amount of times you've seen in this kind of things where people climb out the window on a train
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is more often than I like to remember.
That is true. He could have realized the door was locked, so he climbed out his window to get to him. That is possible.
It's true, yeah, that darn dubious
They
Watson.
do it so often nowadays, and it's always funny to me, but at the same time, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. You know how hard it is to climb out of a fucking train that's going at full speed?
Yeah, and this may be a long time ago, but it still would not be easy.
You know, honestly, that's all I have to say about it. Gentlemen, are you ready to hold up cards?
Let me look at my notes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm ready. How about you, Gilly?
Yeah,
I'll go
I'm gonna
first.
fuck this show.
Okay, go ahead, mate.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, I'm gonna fuck this show. This show continues to do what I want with Sherlock. Oddly enough, Sherlock has been my favorite part about the show so far, and I knew that was going to happen. I knew as soon as Sherlock got involved, the show was going to get a lot better for me because there'd be a main conflict instead of just caper of the week. And Sherlock was a thing this show desperately needed, in my opinion, for it to come into its own, and it's done so. I greatly enjoyed this episode.
Right on, right on. What say ye, Gilly?
well, like I said, it gave me a. I got a headache in the beginning, but what I cared about was just how well they have, at this point, just fully introduced, fully set up the dynamic between our two opposing forces. And that's all I cared about in this episode. They finally have fully set it up, and I'm very happy about that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm also fucking the show. Uh, this the show's a treat. Each time I come in and I'm like, ooh, let's get a little mystery. I come for the mystery and intrigue. I stay for the characters and just the smarm from both Sherlock and Moriarty. Um, it's good. The boys are playing with fire, uh, especially William. Really trying to. It's everything is a test for Sherlock just to see what kind of man he is and how he will perform in this great play that he is designing. And other than the characters, this show is gorgeous. Like this show loves its scenery, like its buildings, its warehouses, its forests, its landscapes. Uh, it's just so pretty. And the train, yo, like that train, like so much love and detail was put into like the moments when it was still, when it showed the wheel and then like the head cart. It's it's just it's really pretty. It's been a while since I like ranted about like gushed about a show and how pretty it is. But like I'm looking at it and I'm like, God damn, the people animating this and designing it, the art directors are just they really, really, really must really enjoy like this time period because they are hitting the aesthetic very well without making it all like post-industrial, dingy and dark and dirty, which what a lot of people what man, I lost the English language there for a second. Which is what a lot of people do in this kind of portrayal of time period. But yeah, big eggplant. Trifecta for Moriarty and Sherlock, because it's more Sherlock than Moriarty at this point. But I'm sure we're gonna shift back.
Two things, real quick. Or actually, three things. One, hashtag wear bowler cap. Two, Dalaran, all you're missing is, so I've read the manga before your Scott Kaiser Neko starter package is complete. And listen, it's you. It's a joke about you always talking about the animation.
It's so pretty, though. It's so
And
pretty.
third, so I've actually been looking at the spring season a bit, just to give myself a little heads up. The second season of this is coming out in spring, so I think that's when a lot of the other characters are going to get to shine, like Albert, and I think that's when the big confrontation is going to be. Because where I see episode 12 ending is Sherlock getting the first clue that it might be Moriarty. So I think this might be our first 3-act episode, actually, or 3-act set of episodes, actually.
We'll see. That is still months away, so let's see. Let's see what happens when it happens.
Well, episode 12 is only 2 weeks away.
This is episode 10, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about this right now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, I said I think this might be our first 3-parter, because this is Act 1 of question mark. So.
Yeah. Well, let's see where it goes. I will say this though. We talk about how Sherlock is, the predominant character in the last few episodes, but I think the show is getting away with that because it spent the first 7 episodes setting Moriarty up and the way he thinks and the way he acts and his ambitions, his goals, and his motivations are all clearly defined for us. So when we see Sherlock stumbling and trying to figure this out, we already know why Moriarty is doing this, and as such, we can feel and think how Moriarty is feeling and thinking in the moment. So I'm very curious to see what the show does with the next 2 episodes, because I think that will strongly decide if I'm going to continue watching the show in the future.
So you're a bit trepidatious with your fuck here.
No, I love the show. It's doing so well. But with any medium, I've been burned, especially by anime, so much where something is doing incredibly well and just flubs the ending. So I am being... Oh, yeah. You can say I'm being trepidatious. Sure.
Well, something you two haven't been trepidatious about lately. Ikebukuro Westgate Park, episode 10. A woman approaches Makoto and asks her to break a motherfucker's kneecap. They learn that the man busted her brother's leg for money because he was being extorted by high school boys. Makoto promises the attacker that he can join the G-Boys if he meets with the victim face to face. They do, and after they start the healing and rehabilitation, the boy is led into the G-Boys and doesn't get his Nico kneecaps busted.
I was hoping you'd make that joke. Yeah, breaks his Nico kneecaps, and 2 things though. He was in high school back then, and the bullies in his school were literally beating him up and extorting him for money, and that if he didn't pay them, they would continue beating the shit out of him. So basically, he was Junpei from Jujutsu Kaisen, just without all the magic and sorcery. And blonde.
And worst character. I mean, what?
What'd you say?
I said, and worst character. I mean, what?
This episode made me tear up. But
Like always, this episode made me feel empty inside.
what say you, Gilly?
There was a lot to process with what happened in this episode.
Yeah, we've been getting heavy, full to the brim episodes.
I was very unsure about what was going to happen after he came to. Okay, well, first of all, she may not have liked it, but I like Makoto in a suit. It's nice.
We got Suit Koto!
She might not have liked it, but I liked it.
The suit does not fit his look, but that's kind of what did it for me. I found that to be funny.
I think that was the point.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. It didn't fit him, but it looked good.
It'd be like seeing Itadori wearing a tux and bow tie.
He's handsome.
Was it a bow tie or was it a tie?
It was a tie.
Tie!
It was a tie, but the thing is I can see Itadori pulling off a tie.
Oh, Itadori? Okay.
And also, Itadori is handsome too. It's just he's in high school, so not supposed to say stuff like that to him.
You mean
Even though
handsome is something you can say to anybody as long as you don't make it weird.
yeah,
Yeah, you can be handsome without calling the friggin' urchins. Sherlock's urchins were handsome, even though they were like poor kids. Remember? I was upset about that last week.
you're quite a handsome woman, Mr. Holmes.
Anyway, Gilly, you were saying?
What was I saying again?
You said
There was
you
a
liked
lot
Makoto.
going on here.
My brain no work today. It has been a long day.
It has been a long day, bud.
I but yeah, there was a lot going on in this episode. He goes to see them. He has the talk with them. Her brother seems real calm, and then after they leave, well, his whole scene with the knives.
That is the weakest part of the episode in my opinion. They just brushed over the fact that this dude went into like a murderous trance and just starts he saw his assailant, right? Okay, so this show does need a bit of a context for people listening. Makoto is approached by the woman. She's like, hey, break this guy's Nico kneecaps. Just one leg is fine. Why? He mugged my brother, ruined his leg. We can't open the restaurant we always wanted to, and it's all his fault. I want him fucked up. Well, how does your brother feel? Brother's like, I'm fine. I just wish, and he's, I hate him. I hate him so much, but I'm trying to move on with my life. Also, he then again sees the kid walking around on the street, and he just pulls out a bunch of knives and just starts sharpening them, chanting, muttering and chanting, I saw him again, I saw him again, I saw him. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Show of hands, class, if you thought he was about to stab him during the meeting.
I did too. Why?
I thought it was going to happen, and for probably one of the only times regarding something like this, I know I'm going to be agreeing with Meep that I feel like it maybe should have been a little more aggressive
Yeah.
because it set him up to be aggressive, and then it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it did nothing with that scene.
Yeah, that scene was... I mean, if I was thinking about it, like, really critically, I would be like, okay, they're showing that he is trying to heal, but he hasn't healed, and then there's still a big part of him that hasn't forgiven the transgression, and that he hates him, and that there's this vile hatred, murderous resentment in him. But it was done in such a dramatic way, and then not followed up with anything, so it felt pointless.
I didn't need him to try and stab him, but I needed a little more of that sensation in his reaction.
Yeah. As
I
well,
just needed it to actually line up from how he was acting previously. That's what I needed.
You know what we needed? And I'll go right back to you, Meep. We needed him to grip a fork or a knife at the table just to show that he's holding himself back and he's trying to move forward. That's the scene we were missing.
What I think would have been better is if instead of having that murderous rampage thing, have the actual
G-boys!
scene play out of the G boys, stepping up to the friends that were extorting the boy. Have that be an actual scene instead of just, oh, we see a backdrop of those boys running away.
The way they talked about that scene being like, King came up with, I forgot his name, but, the juvie kid, and, basically made the bullies promise to pay him back for the money they took from him and also never to approach him ever again in their lives, and then they ran away. And they kind of, the whole bowing thing publicly and then fleeing, the way they talked about it, he said, a proper form of public discipline. it made it feel like a Japanese thing. Like, we don't agree with it, because don't get me wrong, the last few episodes, I have been unsatisfied by the punishment of the assholes in the fucking show. Sure, last week Shadow beat the shit out of the fucking uh, land shark, but what about the racists? Like, nothing happened with them. And in this week, however, everyone here is way more complicated, and you can empathize with a lot of people, because this kid has been bullied his whole life, made to do horrible things, and all he's doing, and especially in Japan, walking around with a record, or like living with a record, makes it incredibly difficult for him to find a job. So like, whenever she's just like, you don't even work, you just roam around town, not a care in the world. Well, my brother can't stand on his leg for more than 3 hours, he will never be a chef. And then his reveal was just like, I'm not just wandering around, I'm just looking for work or any kind of way to make money before they beat me up more after I got out of juvie. Like, because he went to jail, he went to juvie, the bullies got off with a warning, and like, that's the whole point, where it's just the justice system doesn't always punish accordingly. There will always be people who think enough is done, not enough is done, or too much is done. And this episode is complicated, and I love it because it's complicated.
We're lucky that that woman didn't go to Shadow. Yeah, that was the one part of this episode I actually really liked for a change with the show, is the whole, no, I just got back from juvie. My life's fucked now.
Yeah.
Like that, like, I have not been fulfilled with this show in a long time, and this episode still ultimately left me hanging, but I finally got that spark back from like episode 2, episode 3 of fulfillment with that. Like, yeah, I actually like that. I wish we could have seen it explored more. I feel like so many stories in the show could be so much better if they were like two-parters.
I agree. I don't know, Gilly, if you agree or not, but like, I agree, but I also understand that it's a 12 episode season of anime, and they have to do the most with it that they can.
Yeah.
Which we're getting so close to finishing like basically everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming up.
I'm excited for
Th-
many things.
There's so many shows that are basically about to wrap up.
Yeah.
I will say, sorry. Can
I
I?
think out of what we have left, it's all of them except Jujutsu Kaisen are about to wrap up.
Well, Moriarty's
Yeah.
getting a second season, confirmed.
It is getting a second season, but the one we're going over now is going to wrap up.
Oh yeah. Also, Rail Romanesque is getting a second season, the one that's like a 3.2 on my anime list, so.
You mean the one
Cool.
that's out of everything rated lower than anything else we've watched,
Yes.
including
Fruit
Fruit
Tart's
Tart?
rating. Fruit Tart's rating is fucking
It's
bullshit
lower than
too.
Fruit Tart. Yeah, Fruit Tart's got a 6 point something.
That fan
Next
service,
season.
Last time I
it
checked.
sells.
Next season is going to be rough for me because other than the 10 shows we're going to be watching, I'm going to be watching 3 extra ones because there's the second season of Cells at Work, the second season of Dr. Stone, and then there's Beastar's second season, but I'm probably going to
Wait,
wait
hold
for
on.
that.
Is that what we're doing? Because we might need to talk after the show.
No, those are 3 extra shows I'm going to be watching.
We'll talk about that after the show. I can't do 13 shows a week.
He's talking about what he's watching.
I want it. Listen to my words. What me? Me.
But yeah, no. Back to Ikebukuro Westgate Park. The one thing I wanted, and I think this is more of a performance issue than a story issue, is the juvenile kid, the juvie kid broke down. Like, he full on cried, and that's when the brother. Oh wait, I should be changing stills for this. No, wrong tab. Whoops, wrong window. Okay. What the fuck?
There were a few times, while you're changing stills, there were a few times in this episode I thought the girl was going to pull out a gun.
I mean, she was mad, and it made sense.
I know.
Also, like, it didn't help that, like, he lost his mother and his father. Something happened with his father, too, where he's no longer with him. The brother and sister lost both of their parents in a car accident when they were younger than he even was. Like, this is, like, a tough fucking situation. It's just sad.
Apparently, everyone in Japan has dead parents.
Yeah, I mean, the dead anime mom here is a dead giveaway.
I know. Don't make me sad about the show we're talking about next.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to that, but in this episode, like it really gets into a lot of like personal issues and like the way that they empathize with him, because the brother sees how much guilt he has in him that he can't live a normal life, and it's just no one is perfect here. The brother, while being very composed and like was there for the sister and trying to do better, has hatred in him because he's human. This kid who did terrible things does so because he's extorted and has no way to live. The sister who is like letting her hatred and resentment get the better of her is only doing so because she's so hurt and wounded. Like, it's great. And honestly, the whole dialogue of cast aside, your hatred and prepare for tomorrow, like, that's really important. Like, that was the closing line of the episode where it's just like, we live in a town where we can like cast aside our hate and focus on living well tomorrow, and that's really important to do in life. And while this show really loves Ikebukuro, and I don't know if that's really accurate to the neighborhood itself, it's a good philosophy.
And Makoto's flaw is his false kindness, even though that still hasn't come up since that episode.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck they were talking about with that.
Like, Makoto is built up to be this, like, such a good person, there's nothing wrong with him. And then there was that one episode, nothing else. It's like, oh, okay. I don't know why they brought that up in that episode.
It's like to give him like some imposed moral grayness, but I don't know. What about you, Gilly? Anything you want to say about this episode? Anything else?
Uh, Not really. I liked it. I had a good time. I liked how they did things.
There was no fruit ramen.
Just wait, we're gonna get it at least one. We're gonna get it on the very last episode of this.
It's gonna be the last shot.
It's gonna be the last shot. We're gonna be panning out, and you're just going to see him. It's gonna zoom in on his mouth as he brings a piece of melon to his mouth, and then credits.
The bowl is going to be a hollowed out pineapple.
Ugh.
It's like a bread bowl, but for ramen and a pineapple.
Ugh. Gilly, what's your fucking card?
His chopsticks are going to be weeks.
That actually sounds like a fun idea. But no, I'm gonna fuck this show. I just really like this show, and it's nice. And honestly, even though I've continuously fucked the show throughout the entirety of this, I've I've felt very strongly that after the midway point of this show, it just got better for me, and it just makes me love it a lot.
Right on, man. Happy to hear it. I'm enjoying it myself. I got some things I want to say, so Meep, do you want to go first?
This episode was almost a fuck for me.
Almost.
But then I remembered, oh, the show doesn't do a lot with the things it tries to set up, like Makoto's fake kindness, or him having the hatred and with the knives, but nothing came of that. And it just reminded me of why I actually find this show to be at a 5.5 to a 6 for me. And I'm gonna kill it. It's the opposite of what Tabi Tabi does for me. Instead of doing just enough for me, it does just not enough. Like, any little in would have turned that into a fuck, but no, they didn't. And this show just isn't for me. You two are enjoying it, which, hey, that's good that you two are enjoying it. But I'm not.
I will agree 100% that they dropped the ball on the whole knife scene. It was well done. It was honestly unsettling and kind of scary. Like, imagine being his sister in that moment, and they did nothing with it. So I agree. They dropped the ball on that. But I enjoy. You know what? Before anything, I'm just gonna hold up my card. It's a fuck eggplant. I'm fucking this show. because what the show gives me is uh, a kind of like this glimpse into Japan. And I've only been to Tokyo. I've only been to Japan once, and only in Tokyo and one of the like outer prefectures, and even then for like 2.5 weeks. So I can't really say I know what it's like to live in Japan. I can't say I know. I can't say I know what it's like to live in Japan. So it's just seeing these kinds of interactions gives me a sense of like this inner look into people's lives. And once again, I'm starting to realize it. Chad was mentioning it before. I saw a couple of people saying it. Like it's character focused. A lot of things that we're talking about is character focused, and I think that's something that this season is shining. Whether it be from Yukoku no Moriarty to Akudama Drive, and many of the other shows we've mentioned, Adachi to Shimomura, and I think Ikebukuro Westgate Park as well. While it's not a long term narrative, like Meep said, and I completely understand why it's not doing it for you. You want consequences, and that's totally fair. For me, I enjoy this kind of passing day to day life approach to the storytelling. However, no one mentioned this, but in terms of shit that means nothing, did anybody watch the post credit scene?
I
What's that?
For once I really didn't, because I was just I was tired watching last night, and I just didn't. A lot of shows, as soon as it like as pretty much everything, as soon as it actually finished the main stuff, I I closed it out and went to the next show.
Fair enough. Did you meet?
Uh, can you remind me? I can't remember.
It was the G Boys getting into a fist fight with the Red Angels in an alley somewhere with no context.
Oh, I wish I watched it.
And, okay, it's not how I like my conflict setup. If we had inklings of it throughout the last few episodes, sure, King is like, oh, the Red Angels are expanding their influence, and people are like, oh, the Red Angels have moved into another area. And, like, I get that. I get it. But, like, I want to see it, too. Like, I want to see, like, a G-Boy and a Red Angel bump into each other on the street and kind of have a standoff and kind of yell at each other. Or someone hurting someone else. Like, I need a little bit more. It just credits, which I really like the music in this show. The way they cue up the opening is really good. Where she's like, "I want you to break this guy's legs," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." Cue up that opening, fuck yeah. And the way they queued up the ending was really good too. It's like when everyone was just like crying and kind of we were coming down, and then the police chief is lamenting on like this whole like I forgot what the term was. It was like restorative justice, where the victim and the perpetrator meet and speak and humanize each other to heal and move on. Um, and then they were just playing that cool hip hop. Was the ending song the same this episode or was it different?
It it
It was.
sounded like a different song.
Right?
I believe it was the same song.
I'm
So,
half and half. I couldn't tell, and I could have checked. I should have
Like
just.
I actually thought the same. I thought the same thing, and I thought I was just tired.
hmm. So now that you mention that, Dallin, I have to add an addendum to what I said. Remember when I said that it almost gave enough for me to give a fuck? Now it still did, but if I would have watched that post credit scene, it wouldn't have. It most likely wouldn't have been because even just hearing you say that, yeah, that sounds like a bad way to set up a conflict.
It was bad. I love this show. Well, I don't know about love. I really like this show. Our relationship is going well. I enjoy hearing its stories about its life. It's a good time. It's this was just slipped in at the end of the episode after the credits, no context, and it didn't even look good. The fight looked kind of shitty. Like it was just a bunch of dudes just punching each other in the face with like not good animation. Not that great animation. So, nah,
If
I didn't like the after credit scene. I thought that was poorly done.
I would actually think it would be a bad thing for them to, as much as I want conflict, if they just straight up, okay, next episode, we're feuding with the Red Angels, let's go. I'm gonna be upset because they have not set it up at all.
Same.
Like they set up the Red Angels are expanding to a new district, but we haven't seen any of it.
Same.
I will actively be upset, and if next episode does that, well, I've been knifing it consistently, so
We only have like 2, maybe 3 episodes of it left.
it's
There's
this
only
episode.
so much setup they can try and do.
It's true. It's true. Which is why I think they pulled that trigger at the ending scene. I don't think it was the right call, but I can understand why they did it.
I'm saying they shouldn't have a two-parter conflict. I'm saying they should continue, like, if the show continued with its episodic nature, fine. Like I can continue to say this just isn't for me. I'm not into the whole episodic thing, but if they actually do have a two-parter conflict, I will actively be like, no, that's just a bad way to do it, dog.
It has to happen. We watched the opening. We know there's going to be a gang war. It's going to happen next episode, or it's going to happen in the last episode. However, what I'm curious about is I have in my notes that I really enjoy the where is it? I really like Makoto's and King's dynamic, where there's this very subtle kind of like mutually understood trust in each other. The way they nodded to each other when the brother and the guy started like when the brother yelled at each other and then they both got tense and then he just calmed down and they spoke and the kids started crying. They looked at each other and nodded with like this very light smile. Their relationship is very subtle. There's no details. I want to know the backstory, but if I don't get it, I'll be fine with it. However, in the opening, you see Makoto in the Red Angels lieutenant's car, like the second in command, the boy who's very delicate, kind of a twink, in a good way, with King driving after them or next to them. So if Makoto just betrays King out of nowhere, it's going to be stupid. I really don't want that. I'm scared of that happening.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, we held up our cards. Are we okay to move on to the next show?
Unless Gilly has more sense, I'm set.
No, I'm good.
Alrighty, and with that, we move on to Jujutsu Kaisen, episode 11. Nanami finishes battle with Mahito and retreats while Itadori meets Junpei and his mom. They hit it off really well. However, a Sukana finger is left near Junpei's mom and she is found dead. With the help of the curses, Junpei has everybody in the school knocked out and confronts the bully who he thinks killed his mom. But Itadori rushes in at the last moment to stop him.
So let's start at the beginning. Before we get to sad, let's start at the beginning. Overtime.
No, I'm already tearing up. I'm already tearing up. I have actual tears thinking about this episode.
That's fine. I teared up when in Ikabukuro's table scene at the end. But let's start at the beginning. Nanami, when he goes overtime, is a fucking badass.
Yeah. He's fun. I like Nanami, but at the same time, he's not my least favorite character in the show. He's not my favorite, though, either.
Yeah, sure. I also like Mahito. I think the Curse Boy, Scar Boy, is really cool.
Oh yeah, Mahito is great.
He's super expressive.
His character is scary because he's as powerful as he is, and he is just a child.
Yep, he is baby.
He is.
Yeah, but I thought it was great. The scene with Glasses Man was just like, I need to call Nanami the adult of adults. Like Itadori went to Junpei's house and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, I probably won't get in trouble with Gojo because he's so like laid back and carefree, but oh no, Nanami, the adults of adults, the adult of adults." And I'm like, that's he's such a straight-laced character.
I'm so happy at how fast Itadori and Junpei hit it off.
Well, Junpei was told to become friends with anyone who's a jujutsu sorcerer, so that was part of it. But I think there was a genuine friendship that we will see break through the despair. Not to go all Sephiroth, but break through the despair that has clouded over Junpei's world.
Sephiroth and Smash.
Yo, he killed Mario!
Mario's died in like every Smash trailer.
I don't think Mario's been strapped through with a sword.
He's been blasted
Dracula
by
killed Luigi once.
though.
He got what? I didn't
No,
hear what you
it's,
said, me.
Said he got blasted by a laser Kamehameha in one of the trailers. He's been bored by Kirby.
I mean, Kirby
the way
forged everyone.
the way they just the way they hit it off because of the movies, I just loved.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Fucking Gojo made Itadori watch so many movies, and he hits it off with Junpei because of it.
I thought it was great. This show loves its movie references, though.
Yeah. And Junpei is such a sweetheart, too, because we see his mom smoking. He's like, hey, Mom, you said you'd quit. And then she's like, oh, sorry, I promised I wouldn't smoke in front of you anymore.
Oh,
she stops,
yo.
and it's this small little thing. Like, he wants his mom to live a long and good life, so he wants her to quit smoking.
Sure, but it's more than that. Like, I got a different read from that scene. His fist clenched, and he looked extremely pissed off. It was for a good reason, but there is some in Kingdom Hearts terms, throwing it to you, Gilly, there is some darkness in that boy.
He's
I
just
think part
afraid
of it might also be the fact. I think part of it might also be just with all the cigarette burns on his head. I just don't think he likes having to see them.
Oh shit! I did not even put those two and two together.
Well, when last episode we saw it, those bullies were burning cigarettes out on his forehead. That's what all those little dots were.
Yeah, but I didn't even put that together. Holy shit.
I think I feel like that's where the anger is coming from, is just not liking to see them after that.
That is true. I guess my read was just that he wants his mom to live a good life, because we hear him say in another episode, like, if my mom died, I'd be heartbroken.
Oh,
he
cares about his mother. That's obviously why he goes on his vengeance brigade.
Junpei going Ellie.
Yeah.
His curse abilities are scary too.
Yeah, it's some sort of jellyfish ability.
Oh, right.
The way that people
when
just
he goes
started
all dark.
dotting, people were dotting was like they were being hit with a neurotoxin. It's like they were being poisoned.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, he only poisoned the or at least I guess I didn't see if any of the other students were poisoned, but it seems like he's only trying to kill the bully.
Well, I think all the people were paralyzed. I don't
Yeah.
even think they were unconscious.
Okay.
Yeah,
he
homie
didn't
went
make the
down.
picture go unconscious.
He downed everyone.
So yeah, to Mahito, or to roll it back a bit, Itadori and Junpei go back to his house because Junpei's mom invites him for dinner, and Junpei's like, "No, you're just troubling me." Itadori's like, "Yeah, I got a couple hours to chill," and then he tells the fucking glasses man, "Hey, I'm gonna be out for a few hours." He's like, "Wait, no, I wasn't supposed to leave you alone." Like, oh, and it was.
Now I gotta
And it's
tell the adult of adults.
he outs himself to Nanami. He's like, "Oh, thank goodness, I'll meet back up with Itadori." Nanami's like, "Wait, you left him?" He's like, "Oh."
His read of like "I'm an idiot" was amazing. Just good. I don't know what he said. I unfortunately Japanese still evades me. But man, just his delivery for calling himself "I'm an idiot" is just.
I was really worried when they were introducing a new character because we already have so many side characters. But you know, it's a shonen. It's a shonen. Shonens always have a ton of characters. I really like Junpei. I'm happy he got added because like the scene of Itadori and Junpei laughing at Castaway joke. The mom's like, "Well, I don't get it. Is that a reference?" And she's drinking heavily. And Junpei's like, "Oh, my mom is the worst kind of drunk, and she's just the friendly, vapid drunk."
I mean, it's your usual teenage cringe at your parents.
Yeah, but still, it's and he tucks her in, and they watch a movie, and it's really sweet. It's really soft.
And then she dies.
Then it was so sad because you see it. And I'm just like, oh no, you were a good mom. No, you don't even have the dead mom hairstyle.
Look,
Was
they had to push Junpei to that point.
I know, and it was sad seeing him horrified with Mahito. Was I the only one thinking Mahito was going to pin it on Itadori?
No. He knows better.
No, because they need that. No, they. I did not think that at all. Because part of why they're another reason they're using Junpei is you can tell that they know what Itadori's about. Part of Junpei's purpose is to draw Itadori to them because they need
Yeah, like
Sukuna.
Yeah, they want him to get along with Sukuna's vessel.
yeah, and it was so sad because you're just seeing him horrified on the couch while Mahito is explaining. This was a cursed artifact from Sukuna. Do you know anyone that has a vendetta against your mother, or someone with a lot of money and no time to waste? And of course, Junpei immediately goes to the person that's been tormenting him his whole life because he needs someone to blame, so he doesn't blame himself.
And that guy is fucking awful too. The bully, just a piece of shit through and through.
Yeah. Well, he probably deserves what he's getting. It is
Yes.
going against Itadori's ideals, and we see Itadori charge in at the last moment.
Yes, let the hatred flow through you.
Let the dark side take over, Junpei.
No, you.
Get over.
I'm very curious what they're gonna do exactly if this is going to be if there's going to be a legitimate fight scene or if this is going to be a lot of talking or a little bit of both. I'd like a balance.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of both.
More, I would actually be happier if it leaned into the talking a little bit more, but I'd like to see a little bit of fighting.
Yeah. The show does really good with its character interactions.
It's also pretty good in terms of just having the balance of talking and fighting. It's shonen, so you know it's going to be, cut up. But I'm hoping that, once again, this upcoming fight is going to be interesting and more about wrestling with pain and philosophies more so than just beating the shit out of each other for friendship.
Yeah.
Until someone suffers enough brain damage that, they they become friends with the other person.
My pain is greater than yours.
The Vegeta complex. God damn it, Kakarot, you hit me so much, I'm as dumb as you. I love Vegeta, cause I'm your friend now. Fuck.
But I don't want to be.
Like, okay. By the way, I know I was. Was anyone else confused by the Jujutsu Stroll at first?
There wasn't a Jujutsu Stroll.
There was. There was. The Jujutsu Stroll was a parody of the next episode Ons. Because they had the Jujutsu Stroll, then it cuts over to the next episode on. I think you skipped the Jujutsu Stroll. I think you skipped the Jujutsu Stroll thinking it was the next episode on.
Maybe.
Because it heavily... Because what the Jujutsu Stroll is it starts out like Nobara going, "We're gonna climb this mountain," and it's like all this fucking not copy pasta. It's all this. What's the word? What word am I looking for?
Huh.
Parody. Yeah, it's this parody on next episode ons in anime. Because the reason I figured that out is because when they cut to the actual next episode on, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, they didn't do the Jujutsu Stroll, so I just thought it's a serious ending to the episode, so there's no joke at the end.
They did the Jujutsu Stroll, they just didn't have the sleeping Sukuna.
Oh well. I just processed that as the next episode and just kept going.
I don't blame you, because I was confused as well at first. I was like, oh, no Jujutsu Stroll. Then the next episode on played, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Though it is the weakest Jujutsu Stroll for me.
It was
How
just
do we
slapstick
feel
gag.
about the fact that How do you feel about the fact that Itadori just doesn't fully understand how to work his phone?
How do I add friends again?
Is that what the
I
joke
mean-
was?
He doesn't seem to actually be that technologically literate, which honestly makes sense for his character.
That is true. The read I got
He
was
seems
that
he seems more focused on, like, act doing a lot of physical things, and doesn't go out to see the movies very often. Just sort of does his thing.
yeah, that was the point of what he was saying. He was like, "Yeah, take me out next time you go see." I don't remember the last time I went out to the movies.
Yeah, and plus Itadori comes from like a small town, and yeah, I guess it makes sense that
Both
he's
him
not.
and Nobara both consider themselves country.
Yeah,
They're country bumpkins. Puts Goku hair on Itadori. No, not like this.
not like
I
this.
can't.
Don't you mean Gohan hair?
Hmm. Would that make his Grandpa Gohan? I mean, Grandpa Gohan technically is dead in the first episode of Dragon Ball. So
Well, shit.
Jeez,
Imagine
Meeps,
that's a reference.
spoilers.
oh, I spoiled a 1991 anime. Boo hoo.
That's only in America. It was in the late '80s in Japan.
Yeah.
Get it right, Meep.
But yeah,
Anyone
that's
that wanted to seek that out and watch it has watched it already.
also like Gohan dies.
Man, death and Dragon Ball were the biggest thing they have is resurrection. I can't believe it.
I mean, they didn't really have. Well, I guess they had the Dragon Balls, but they, Krillin dying was a huge big deal. And then later on in the series, they're like, God damn it, we gotta go get the balls again.
Krillin, why do you keep doing this?
I don't know. It's not my fault. They keep picking on me. I'm small.
I don't know, Goku. I just keep attacking the big bad. Maybe I should just stop.
Alrighty.
But
Shall we hold up
he
cards,
attacks
boys?
the
Oh, sorry, Gilly. Go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say is Krillin always attacks the big bad because his balls are as big as his head.
I get it.
Ugh. I'm gonna continue fucking this show.
Same here.
Though I'm sad there's no MILF for me to jump off the wagon for.
Well, there's a top half of the MILF.
One, I'm not into
Well, then.
necrophilia. Two, a mouth isn't enough.
What's the matter, Meep? You don't like the titty eyeball many-handed demons?
I didn't bring that up for a reason, Dalaran.
It's a bad thing, and I did not like it. It made my eyes unhappy.
That was its point.
It was its point. Also, crystal pinky with nice crystal tumor growth on the end. I'm gonna fuck the show. This episode is solid. Junpei can't catch a break, which is why it's understandable that he would descend into madness and just depression. Despair. There we go. That's the word. Yeah, no, it's good. Again, it's one of those episodes that makes me want to be like, okay, cool. What happens next? Let's flip the page. Let's go. More.
Last episode, you mentioned a show where you went audibly awe when it ended. This was the show for me this week.
This show?
Yeah, this show, when it ended, I audibly went awe because I wanted to see more.
Oh yeah. Last week's episode, I literally went, no. Oh come on. This time I was like, okay, cool. I get the setup.
I want to see more edgy Junpei.
Wearing
Junpei
his
Black.
mother's jacket.
Don't shoot! This man is not black!
Good pull, Meep. Great quality. Thumbs up.
Listen, we've been delving into Dragon Ball dub shit for a bit.
Gilly, what will you do to Jujutsu Kaisen? Ara ara, the mom is dead.
Well then, I mean, I'm gonna fuck the show. It's just I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good.
It is all of
I
those
don't.
things.
There's a lot of things the show does. Even when it's not focused in on fighting, it does a really good job of just entertaining in other ways, which I feel like I don't see enough in shonen.
Yeah, it's really really fun, and I absolutely love it. But with that, trifecta for Jujutsu, by the way. Dude, let us move on to Akudama Kawaii Drive, episode 11.
Don't you ever
Or
disrespect this show like that ever again.
Akudama Drive, episode 10. This is going to be a lengthy one, folks. Doctor and Hoodlum follow Courier and Swindler, who are headed to Kansai Station.
You roboted
and when
out.
they learn the citizens of the uprising... Oh, one moment. Okay. It looks like my net is stable now. Doctor and Hoodlum follow Courier and Swindler, who are headed for Kansai Station, and when they learn the citizens of the uprising have now been classified as Akudama, so the executioners can fight back and quell them. In Kansai Station, Doctor and Hoodlum take Pupil's apprentice hostage, as well as Swindler. But after a speech, Hoodlum lets Swindler go, and after Doctor says he stitched Brawler's wound so he would die purposely, Hoodlum cuts her throat open. However, she does the same to him. With a crowd rushing aboard the Shinkansen, Doctor is trampled and unable to patch herself up. Courier and Swindler follow aboard to get to Brother. So there's only like 3 Akudama left alive, right?
Hacker, Swindler, and Courier.
Yeah.
And we might be getting a 4th Akudama.
If, depending on how Pupil goes, because they do make the point, you're sympathizing with an Akudama now.
Yeah, depending on how Pupil Senpai will go, I'm... Ooh. Also, really good Pupil Senpai. The most character she's had all show.
Oh, yeah.
Because she finally got a scene to let all her edge show. Like, her grit, her edge.
Also, we never got Hoodlum versus Pupil.
Yeah. Kind of wish we got a flashback to it, but...
I liked Hoodlum this episode. A lot of his character shone through, and character development shone through. I liked him. I'm just sad he had to die.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to talk about that. Yeah, just going to jump to that still real quick.
It's not much to talk about other than that. Or I guess we can talk about the executioners slaughtering the citizens.
No. I thought you were talking about Hoodlum killing... Wait, sorry, did I misunderstand what you're saying?
No, no, I was just meaning, like, other than, the standoff, I don't know what else I have to say about the episode in particular other than the executioner slaughtering citizens.
Fucking Doctor being the actual BBEG of this series? What the fuck?
I mean, yeah, I actively got mad when she was like, "Oh, you didn't know. I stitched him up so it would open up again." I immediately went, you're the biggest bitch."
Swindler got it right in the show, man. Like, Doctor is awful, like, utterly awful. Like, I like that we were getting more of her personality and motivations, and then she had this moment of control and power where she thought she was the hottest shit. So she starts pop because she has everyone under control. She has Pupil and her little Kohai under control because she has a needle in the Kohai's heart. She has Courier and Swindler under control because she taught Hoodlum where to cut the cardioid so that anyone he kills dies and can't be patched up without her help. And Hoodlum is like, and he has a scalpel to Swindler's neck, and it's this standoff. And Doctor's like, yes, I love this. Everyone's life in my control, in my hand. And I'm like, oh, she's bad. She's the worst. And then she gets too cocky and she reveals that she's the one who made sure that Brawler died that day. And Hoodlum, we know Swindler's power now. She's the protagonist. Swindler's power is being a shonen protagonist where she says friendship and wins. And Doctor's disdain for her is just delightfully gross.
But what she says is true. It's not shonen friendship. It's her. What she says is actually true, and it's one of the few times I'm like, yeah, this speech works because it's playing into Hoodlum, and I like that. But Gilly, what did you think of Doctor revealing she's the reason Brawler is dead?
Hurt my boy. She got what she deserved. She got trampled to death.
Yep.
She definitely did.
She got
I
the
like
most.
there was a certain degree of satisfaction with the panning shot where she is bent in every way, shape, and form with blood pouring out everywhere.
Yeah, I loved that shot, and this was a good episode for me at least.
She died.
I also it made me happy. Hoodlum may be dead, but it made me happy that somehow everyone avoided his body because he was perfectly fine other than where his throat was cut. Nobody stepped on Hoodlum.
It's because the world stepped on him enough, and he's a good boy.
Doctor always tried to make herself above everyone else, and she died. She got the death she deserved. Like nothing, trampled underneath the feet of the people she intended to control and look down on. She was trying to stitch her throat back up, and she just got trampled and crushed more. And seeing there's many different ways you can have condemnable people die, and just this is such a lowly, pathetic, miserable way to go that I didn't even need her to suffer more because the insult was already given to her.
Yeah, she was trying to stitch up her own throat, but then she starts getting trampled. And this episode also made me realize what I think the show has been missing because I felt it was missing something too, and I think I may have been able to find out what it's been missing for. At least I'm not sure if you've been feeling something missing, Dalaran, but Gil, you said you felt something missing, right?
Yeah.
The comedic edge that it had from episode 5 previous, because episode 6 was action packed and it still had the comedy. It still had Brawler throwing Hoodlum. It had the meathead comedy. Episode 5, it had the magical food bowl and it had the jokes like it can't make soup but it can make wine. It has been missing a little bit of a comedic edge. I realized this episode. Like a lot of the comedic edge has been, oh, look at Cutthroat, he is in love with Swindler. Oh, look at Little Sister, she has cheeks like Chipmunk with food.
She cute.
Yeah, and that it sort of dawned on me. It has been missing its comedic edge. Does that sound accurate to you?
Gilly?
I didn't know that was addressed at me.
I mean, I was addressing it to everyone, but
I just enjoy the show in general.
My opinion that I've given didn't have anything to do with comedy.
okay. Sorry. Also, yay, no censorship this episode.
A little bit of censorship. The
Not enough for
wound,
me to notice.
the wounds when she cut Hoodlum's throat open, it was censored. Her wound itself, when she was patching it up, it was censored. But the Hoodlum driving the knife in, because no wound or gore was shown, blood, and the fact that she was like fizzing blood on her, oh god, just fucking visceral. Hoodlum, F's out in chat for Hoodlum, y'all. We salute you. You died a man. You died your own person. Not under Doctor's heel or anyone else's. And you died in memory of your boy, your Aniki, Brawler. God, I love their relationship so much. Hoodlum and Brawler, best couple.
Okay, putting it out here, they're nominated for best couple, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Gilly, are you okay with that?
Why do you have to leave me?
Huh?
Why did Hoodlum have to leave me?
Why did Hoodlum have to... Can you move a little closer to your mic, bud? You're coming in really quiet. But why did
you have to leave me?
Because the show needs more room and time for Courier to become a character.
Oh my god, you're fucking right.
Listen, I love this show, but they haven't done anything with Courier, let's be honest.
Wow, you... Boy, yeah, Courier's barely a character.
And yet he's the last one left.
Hacker.
Right, there is Hacker. I can't wait to see him die next episode.
Did you guys watch the...
I mean, we have seen the posters of all the Akudama, and Hacker's still not marked off, so he's still not dead yet.
Well, technically he wasn't executed. Speaking of the posters, I really liked how in the opening scene of this episode we were shown the on the city, we were shown all the signs, and like a blimp kind of was flying toward Kansai, and it had the Akudama screen on it, and it showed that Cutthroat is dead too now, just reminding us what happened last episode without showing it, like without telling us. Just, it's there. The reminder is there, and I really appreciated that.
Also, fucking, that executioner lady is a bitch.
Boss? Yeah.
Boss, yeah. Kill the people. Kill the people, young Skywalker, and we will rise as dominant leaders.
Oh jeez, bud, are you telling me that like a neo authoritarian, how do I put this? Basically a corporate authoritarian military force based power structure in a society is, would go wrong.
They are just police officers. Like in episode 4, I made the joke about them being a police officer, and they're just kind of police officers. Like, I know there's the actual police, but they're the ones that enforce criminals. They're the ones that enforce Akudama, because I think in this world Akudama means criminal.
I mean, it's...
Hoodlum was an Akudama for with a sentence of 4 years, right? He wasn't worthy enough to be executed until he stole from the Shinkansen.
Yeah.
So,
I think the executioners also have the boss has a direct line to the Kanto region, like the heads of whatever the shadow puppet or shadow government organization. But yeah, they like, so I'm conflicted, because on one side I really like what they did, because it's a clever move because there's a civilian uprising and they're like, down with the Akudama. We're tired of no one like dealing with this problem. We're gonna kill all the Akudama. And then, okay, you are after the Akudama. You are all Akudama now. That is smart. Slaughtering all the citizens to prove a point and to make a show of force is tyrannical and fucking authoritarian dictatorship, and that was terrible. And when she's like, well, it's a good thing all of... Also, they answered our question from last week. They're like, because last week we were hanging out, right? And we're like, what? We're all like, are all the other executioners shit? Was Sensei the only good one there? Maybe like a handful of others? No, all the fighters are in the city trying to contain people and find the Akudama. Cutthroat made a pile of office workers, who, luckily enough, office workers are expendable.
Okay. So then was it office workers they sent to the rocket site?
Yeah, I don't know. No, those
That
guys are
doesn't
shit.
explain that one.
Okay, to be fair, Cutthroat 1v like 50 people, alright, in the offices.
Then why couldn't he handle Master on his own on the boat? Not the boat, on the train.
He didn't get the chance. Brawler kept butting in.
That fair. But even on the tower, he got thrown off and went, "My knife!" Rip Cutthroat. He will be missed.
Yeah, no, fuck him. Then don't fuck him. He doesn't deserve it. He's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy, but liking a bad character doesn't make you a bad person.
Okay, yes. But I don't like Cutthroat.
But don't you like bad boys?
No, otherwise I'd like Courier.
Was the saint at heart?
Speaking of Courier, how the fuck are they having that nice conversation on the bike? Do you have any idea how loud it would be going that fast on a motorcycle?
You don't know, maybe his
Sci-fi
motorcycle...
bike.
No, if it wasn't, if the motorcycle's engine wasn't loud enough, the wind just flying through you would just be like. Sorry, headphone users. I'm sure that was awful.
Sci-fi bike. It has protection from wind. The thing can launch like a laser beam out of it. Okay.
Doesn't stop the wind.
Oh!
You don't know
I just thought-
what that bike has going on.
Sorry, chat. Also interesting.
Let us know what Akudama means.
Yeah. Chat. Aku equals bad, evil, and Tama person's nature characteristics. So Akudama basically means like someone with like a villainous, evil spirit and nature. That's cool.
Yeah.
Japanese mythology also sort of refers to a soul, Hoshi no Tama, which is in the same shape of a sphere, so it does make sense that kanji also refers to a person's nature and soul. Well, hey, shout out to Dante the Owlet. Thank you so much for dropping knowledge in chat. That's really good to know.
Our newest member in the Discord server, welcome!
Meep, you slut.
Listen, we have to shill. Share the Twitter, share the Discord. Our reign will be supreme.
I want everyone listening to know I made one Star Wars joke, and I did not think it would go this far.
I also watched the Star Wars trilogy for the first time yesterday. So.
Okay, I'm gonna get. So you're safe since you've just admitted that. People yelled at you, "Oh my god, what took you so long?" But you've done the thing. I might get a mob after me for this. I have never watched all of Star Wars. And I'm talking about the original 6. Well, I guess the original 6 isn't fair. The first trilogy and then the sequels.
The prequel trilogy is my favorite and always will be.
Prequel, thank you. Sorry, not sequel, prequel.
We went a bit off track. Does that mean we're ready to hold up cards?
The last thing I can really say about this episode is that we got Swindler just being protagonist-kun.
Her speech still made sense. I still don't see that as friendship protagonist-kun speech. I see that as No, it was actually a heartwarming, moving speech. Everything she said was true.
Yeah,
Like, she was talking hoodlum like Brawler did.
I'm being facetious, borderline hyperbolic for comedy's sake. I'm not. I thought it was a great scene. I really enjoyed it, and I got little heart pangs when I watched it. Like, it was really nice because just Hoodlum has been a broken man since Brawler's death up until this point, and he made the choice to take his life into his own hands, even if it means it coming to an end. Also, just Swindler's outfit now with like the blue jacket and everything. Just I don't know. I love the character development of Swindler. Just so good. Just if only Kurger would do something.
Will live on forever in my heart.
Hmm.
He will live on forever in all of our hearts.
Yeah. Hoodlum, and it's funny because like I really didn't like Hoodlum. I'm like, okay, I get it, Hoodlum. Oh, comic relief. But he.
Well, I loved him since the beginning.
I loved him since the beginning, too. Since episode 2, I've loved him.
It's okay, Gilly. I'm not gonna take Hoodlum from you.
Gilly, hold up your card. Let's see what the cards reap.
I do not want to go first on this.
Okay. I'm gonna fuck this show. I don't have anything else to add other than that.
Want me to go, Gilly, or do you want to go?
You go.
Sure. Yeah, I teared up also on this episode. It was the last thing I watched because I love the show and I love talking about it. I cry in my notes. I have Hoodlum. I cry because I did. I teared up as well, and damn it, just again, this show has a lot going from its visual aesthetic. Speaking of, this show really, like, I love the way it uses its colors, and God, the way the show uses lighting is amazing. It's all it's art. It's not 3D, it's not live action, but like the way it uses colors, brightness, and lighting, like from the outside with the neon lights to the highway with just like the passing lights on them, just glinting off the eyes, the hair, and like the cheeks. And then when they break into the Shinkansen terminal, and just how, like the shot that's on right now, just how bright and just white, like fluorescent light everything is. Like it almost looks weird. Everyone looks different in that light. This show is like visually stunning. The characters, though, regardless, still the best part of the show. Doctor killed Brawler. She's a piece of shit scumbag, and she is like, I don't care. Like, I mean, I don't know, guys. Do you think we're gonna get any bigger villain than Doctor? Because I think she killing our boy and killing Hoodlum's Aniki, and then eventually, and killing Hoodlum as well, kind of makes her the worst character. Not the worst character, but the most hated character of the show, at least for me.
Hacker might be back as a villain.
Well, we'll see how Hacker behaves, but I really don't think Hacker's going to be a bad guy when he comes in.
He's the king of Kanto.
Kanto is just all artificial intelligence.
It's a ghost robot city of cats in episode 4. So,
yeah, but yeah, no, the show's use of color and lighting is incredible. The character writing and just staying true to it, and the development is incredible. I'm fucking the show every week. I love it. The one thing I will say, though, is that the ending scene was a little sus. Kansai Station was always designed to have a mass immigration of people into Kanto for reasons we don't know why. And Usagi, is that Bunny? I think Usagi's Bunny.
Usually people are trying to keep immigrants out. What's happening here?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to make the political comment. I was going to. I'm not.
You set me up so well, Dalaran, you can't even.
No, what you said is fine. I was going to go really into it, and that's not what the show's about, so I'm not going to do it. Let's just say, remember that organ trading is a huge thing in the black market, and any person that is put into a facility that is detached from society is susceptible to that. Moving on. On that lovely note, Gilly. I can't believe Gilly's dead.
Just vote with your heart. No matter
Did
what
Gilly-
you do to the show, Hoodlum
Did
will
Gilly's
always be
connection
there.
actually die out?
No, it's not. It's not even that. I know what my vote is. I'm going to kill this show. I already knew that that's what I was going with. We talked about the show going this direction around the beginning, and it is not what I wanted, and it has continued to go the direction I did not want. just I'm just sad. I was more sad than anything else.
I'm hurt, but it's okay. You're
I
allowed to
don't.
get off this
I
drive.
am I am not a huge fan of shows that go out of their way to kill all of their to kill a majority of their characters.
That is true.
I
I usually
said
don't like that.
I talked about this a little bit in the beginning. I don't like that. That has kicked me off a lot of shows.
I guess the reason I'm so okay with it here, because I hated it in Akame ga Kill. I guess the reason I'm so okay with it here is that the deaths feel earned. In Akame ga Kill, they didn't really feel earned, but here they do.
I agree. In a comic got kill, it always felt, I didn't hate it because it hurt exactly how it was supposed to, but the deaths were kind of there to hurt the viewer, to make them cry, to get an emotional reaction. Here, it never felt forced or contrived or like it was done for the reason to get an emotional reaction. It always felt organic. But that being said, I understand why you feel the way you feel, Gilly. I get it. I was hoping to take this ride with you until the end, but unfortunately, I understand why you have to get off.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Gilly, but we're heading aboard the Shinkansen. We'll see you on the other side.
I don't know if I would get on board of the Shinkansen. That's dangerous.
I don't
I
know
mean,
that the Shinkansen is giving me some really the Shinkansen thing gave me some really bad vibes of I wonder how many of them are gonna get mowed down by machine guns when they get off on the other end.
I also wonder how many people will be turned.
oh, they're just fucking. Oh, they're just Holocaust camp trains. Then, if that's the case.
That's the worst thing. Yeah,
Heck,
I'm getting like food.
I didn't want to say it, but that was the comparison I actually drew.
That's actually a really scary and possible thought that they are being sent to internment camps. What's
I think
a
it's
show that
more
doesn't
likely
have?
that they're being sent to be annihilated, but yeah.
Let's talk about a show that doesn't have internment camps real quick.
I mean, before we get switched, I just want to say like it's. I agree. It's completely possible. That being said, my thought for it was that they're just gonna be food for whatever's in Kanto, like they are cattle.
Well, now you're just making me think about Snowpiercer.
Hmm. Kuma 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 Bear, episode 10. This is the show I've been waiting to talk about. The show decides to fire its animators and writers to hire a new staff for the last 3 episodes after seeing all the negative reviews on My Anime List. Yuna goes to a port town where she helps with a food shortage and deals with a band of thieves after almost getting robbed at night. What the fuck happened? Was I the only one that noticed that the show was doing a lot of visual things, a lot of writing things, a lot of everything that it has not even stepped into the realm of this episode?
uh, She wanted tuna sashimi and a bunch of bounty of the seafood.
The flirty bartender.
She's
That
not a
was also
bartender. She's the guild
Guild
leader.
master, bartender, same thing. They both serve alcohol.
She's the guild leader. Show some respect.
I'm not going to show some respect to
Dare you,
someone that
Meep.
flirts with a 15-year-old. She literally says "ara ara" in that scene.
She doesn't hit on her. She's being condescending because she's a kid.
Do you know what "ara" means, Dalaran?
How'd you find this episode, Gilly?
Different. Still liked it, but it was different.
Is it because we're back to solo Yuna and not surrounded by the little Kuma girls?
A little bit, but it did feel like it was they thought they'd go a different direction. I was okay with that. Had a different feel to it,
Okay.
but not a bad feel.
I legitimately think they just fired everyone that worked on the show and hired a new staff. They had to have.
No,
That's the only way my brain can cognify this.
It almost feels like they went on a different arc, but like a new arc, but it doesn't make sense since we only have 3. I mean, we have 3 episodes. They can do an arc in 3 episodes.
It's not even an arc feel. It's like a completely different. Because even when shonen shows change arcs, they don't. They tend to stay within the same kind of visual style they've been doing. But this one, they're doing a lot more physical, like comedy, physical things with their characters. It's just, it hit me like a truck. I literally have in my notes. Okay, in my notes, I'm gonna quote. Seriously, did they actually just fire a lot of the staff and hire new ones after seeing the negative reviews? I spent an hour trying to find trying to find anything online if people of the Kuma Bear staff were fired. I was that fucking curious. I spent an hour digging. I found nothing because they're probably Japanese people that are working on it, so any articles would be written in Japanese, but still. It Seriously, it felt like they just fired most of the staff and hired new ones after seeing all the negative reviews.
I don't know what negative reviews you're talking about, Meep. I've seen nothing but praise.
Okay, let me rephrase. Not the negative reviews, but the low score, because it is on one of the lower ends when it comes to the score on my anime list.
My anime list, it's almost a 7.
Last time I checked, it was a
It's a
6.2.
6.93. Almost a 7.
Weird. Okay. Either way, that's still below average, though, for that website.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I found it odd, that's for sure. In the sense, I mean, I didn't really find it odd. Sorry, I didn't really find it that odd. It just seemed more like the same show. So unfortunately, I don't really know where you're coming from when it comes to that. But I thought it was good. I thought we had the same slapstick humor. Things got a little bit more serious, less kawaii desu kind of attitude. You guys want to talk about Atla? Atla or Alta? What's her name?
I was just gonna make the joke. That concludes the Meep talking about Kuma Bear segment as he goes and be quiet because he doesn't like talking about this show.
Boo.
This is my Adachi. Judge
I
me.
thought your Adachi was fruit tart.
That too.
We also had scary Kumas. Is that what you mean by the animation difference?
That was a different animation. That was one of the ones I was meaning.
Gilly,
This
what did you
reminded
think
me-
of
I
the
don't.
kawaii Kuma bear?
It's great.
Because for the first time, we actually treat them like fucking bears and not giant puppies.
Can they
This
like
is a real
change how large they are? Because
Yeah.
they were like smaller on her bed, and then when you saw them actually like when she went to confront the bandits, they were giant bears again.
Yeah, she leveled up her summon ability, and it allows her to change their shape.
Like I thought, I noticed that. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. It's, I mean, it's useful. It's cute.
It's cute.
They could either be the size of a large dog, or they can be an actual fucking bear.
Well, this also allows the publisher to sell 3, if not more, different size versions of the Kuma bears. Buy one in each size of the
I,
plushies.
I don't know why one of my favorite things in this episode was was when she was confronting the band. I don't know why I loved it so much, but the Kuma cloud that just appears over the top when everything explodes.
Kuma
Just
Clown?
the
Oh, the
explosion
clown.
cloud that was just shaped like a bear. I loved that.
Yeah, the fucking tactical nuke incoming.
It's
Yes.
tac
I too.
tactical Kuma incoming.
I too was. Do you think that's insensitive for them to, have a nuke thing like that in a Japanese property? Because I know it was really insensitive when people were saying Bakugo's hero name should be Ground Zero.
Yeah, that is insensitive. And in fact, like given the cultural and the historical context, it's probably insensitive for us to make tactical nuke jokes. I don't. I don't think. I don't think they were making a nuclear cloud. It wasn't a mushroom cloud. It was just a trail of smoke with a big plume on top, which is what explosions look like in general.
I mean, technically, on average, most nukes were used on American soil in testing facilities, but yeah, that would be very insensitive.
That is a terrible joke. That is a terrible position to take in that argument, and I'm not going to elaborate more on that because that's not what this show is about.
What?
And
Am I wrong?
yes, you are because nukes are. It doesn't matter. The environmental deterioration as well as the death count is what counts about using nukes, not the
I,
sheer number of it. But anyway, moving
I
on.
never said it was a good thing. I was just, I never said nukes were good. You cannot, you cannot clip me
I don't know.
saying
I
nukes are good.
I think Godzilla might think otherwise.
Hmm.
Irradiated lizard.
You
I
know,
can't.
the
I
the early 2000 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick, where he's not Godzilla, he's just a giant radioactive lizard.
yeah yeah
I
yeah yeah
can't.
yeah.
I can't believe Godzilla was canceled.
I I must be getting tired because I'm looking at the kawaii kumas on the screen right now, and I their brows where they're furrowed looks like abs. So now I'm just like seeing them as upside down strong people
How the fuck are you
Hmm.
seeing abs from that?
because they got 6 packs on their eyebrows.
I am not. I don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't see it.
I'm very tired.
Well, mm,
But yeah, anyway, in terms of jokes that I really enjoyed this episode, in the very beginning, the whole shtick with Yuna, where it's just like, when Fina is playing with the Kuma bears, the smaller Kumas, and fucking Yuna is just there. I must have been put into this world specifically just to see this sight, to witness this sight. And then she's just sitting there enjoying seeing, just bringing child happiness to a child's face, and then she's like, "I'm completely satisfied with my life." As if it just slams her hands on the table. It's like, "I want the seafoods. I want to eat more foods. I want to achieve more in my life. I want the taste of Japan." And as you know, we Japanese are. Hold on, I think I have it quoted. Ah, yes, the Japanese are proud people of food lovers who will adventure out and even eat poisonous fish in order to try and tasty things.
Uh,
Come on, Meep, how could you not find that funny?
Meep said he was answering a phone call.
Hmm?
Meep said he was answering a phone call.
Ah. Well, Yuli, then move a little closer to your mic and let us know what else you think about this episode.
My mic is basically in my mouth, Dalaran.
Well, you know what kind of show this is. Deep Throat it.
No.
It's true, it's... That's not hygienic!
I don't do that. Do many things, but that's not one of them.
That's true, we do need to be getting larger donations before you can start... Yeah, you're right, we do need to be getting larger donations before you start doing that kind of thing on live.
Exactly.
People pay premium for that. You know what? This is going in a weird direction. I'm gonna let you continue talking about the show, Gilly.
Yes, this is the direction we're going, talking about Kuma Bear, because that's what this show's about, obviously. This week at Kuma Bear, Kuyuna starts an only no.
The fuck did I come back to?
You chewing with a full mouth, apparently.
You could ask that question, Meep, or you could just not.
Sorry, I was on a phone. I was on a phone call. Work called. Apparently, there was an issue and they needed my help.
Alright, well, I hope everything's alright on that end.
Yeah, they just needed my code.
Yeah, no,
So.
I'm happy with the show, like usual. It was cute. It was fun. She beat up some bandits.
Which is interesting. So, the merchant guild leader is the one who's organizing the bandits, right?
I think that's the implication.
I feel like that's the setup they're going for. Which is a shame, because I actually agree with him when he was just like, if you think this is too much, then, like, what do you not, like, what do you think is the cost of someone risking their life to get you this meat to go hunting to get killed by the bandits, or killed by the Kraken, or killed by wolves? And, like, I agree with him, like, sure, he's raising it to, like, 10 times what it normally is, and, like, that's really rough, but, like, people are in need, and I feel like the employees of the Merchant Guild are genuine, but the show is making it seem like he's doing this. He's organizing the bandits and he's taking advantage of a situation, which is a shame because I agree. Like, I actually agree with the Merchant Guild leader. The cost of people risking their lives to get goods does come with a high increase in price, but now that the show seems like to be implicating that he's the one who's like runs the thieves and like is, I hope that doesn't get lost. But then again, this is Kuma Bear, and then I remember that, and then I stop overthinking things.
You just gotta stop overthinking and then look at everything that's adorable. And
Do you think
itself,
the
and it
Kraken is going to
fixes
be
itself.
adorable?
No, but I think it's going to make some good food.
So the thing that the
I honestly believe that's where they're going to be going with it. Is they're going to eat it.
oh my god, they're just going to make takoyaki for the whole city, aren't they?
Probably.
Also, they're
You think?
what they were setting up in the inn with the daughter. She's like, "Oh, you mean that dish that I make with that ingredient? That's miso, right? They're talking about miso."
Do you think remnants of the Kraken are the takoyaki they eat in Akudama Drive?
So, shall we talk about Atla?
Who or what is Atla? Because you keep bringing it up, but I'm not sure.
The guild leader, the considerably attractive woman who runs the mercenary guild here.
Honestly, oh, sorry.
Is she the one that was drunk?
She wasn't drunk. She was drinking tea to keep herself awake because she hasn't slept in 3 days.
She was
She
acting
reminded
like
me.
she was drunk.
She reminded me of Kana from Fairy Tale.
Kana.
She was the drunk girl that hung around in her bra. For some reason, she hung out with a little kid most of the time.
It's been a while since I watched Fairy Tale.
and it'll always stick in my brain that she hung out with that little kid, because there's a still where that kid is just staring at her tits. It's a fucking still. I'll find it later.
Good luck with that.
Yes. Meep searching up little boy stares at grown woman's tits.
Well, oh, okay, never mind. I heard me searching up little boys staring at grown women's tits, and I'm like, that's you know what? That's between you and whatever FBI agent follows your search history.
Oh, his name is Dave.
That's what he
Hi,
said.
Dave. No, I said Meep. I was saying it in a joking voice. Just, yes, Meep. Searching this up.
Too late. You've done this to yourself.
So Dave
The
Dave
NSA
knows
is
what
watching you.
Dave knows what I watch. He knows what I've done.
Yes, but what about your NSA agent? They're not as forgiving.
His name is probably Daryl, and Dave will kill him.
I'm going to interrupt this developing headcanon, to talk about Atla. I actually liked her. She seemed like I liked her from the beginning. Not like I thought she was going to be an antagonist at first, and then seeing Yuna's OP powers is going to like be like, well, I can't fight her. But she thought she was just a kid in bear pajamas and a bear suit, and then she saw her card and saw everything she did, and she's like, holy fuck. And then Yuna's like, yeah, you know what? Like, I can't really take you seriously. You're drinking in the like morning.
But it wasn't alcohol, it was tea.
Yeah, and then her fucking eyes dilate, and she's like, I haven't slept in 3 days, and this keeps me awake. And I'm like, oh my god.
3 days, Wolfgang. Wolfgang, I need some drugs. I need them to keep me awake.
Wondering what kind of tea she's been drinking.
I like her. I mean, she's her model's super attractive. I approve. She's hot. Oh no, she's hot. But I like her. She's goofy and like stressed. She's like an adult who's like on her like working super fucking hard. There's a sweet side to her. She's a little awkward, which makes me like not like enjoy her fully, but overall pretty good. Not the character I expected her to be, but I'll take it.
Oh, also, to let everyone know, while I was also searching up if people got fired from the Kuma Bear staff, I also noticed something else this episode.
Oh?
The voice actress of Nakafuji sounds suspiciously like the voice actress of Yuna. I looked it up. They are not the same voice actress, unfortunately. But apparently the voice actress of Yuna voices the main antagonist of the first season of Vinland Saga, who is the manliest man who has ever manned. And that just makes me big brain explode, because his voice somewhere along this. He's an edgy boy, a Viking, a true Northlander. And then you have her with Yuna. Fina, Sherry, bears. It's just so jarring to hear the difference. I legitimately thought there was a mistake on the My list, but nope. I went and checked out the credits of the ending. It is her. Fucking
hey, man. Talk about fucking range, man.
Also, me saying, oh, women can't voice men. That isn't me saying women can't voice men in anime. It's just surprising to hear that range. Because the equivalent would be hearing the voice. Okay, let me point out an equivalent. Hearing the voice actor for All Might, Christopher Sabat. Imagine if you found out he was the voice actor for Orihime from Bleach. That's the kind of fucking range that is.
Huh. I'm gonna have to
Going
look into
from
that myself after the show.
Oh, Ichigo. As a dungeon master, I dream for that kind of range.
Aye. Yeah, vocal exercises help. I want to extend my range more too, but we'll see. I have to record a demo reel tomorrow.
Are you two ready for cards?
That's why I have a range extender in my bedroom.
God damn it.
Well done. I'm ready for cards.
You
How
told-
about you guys?
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
gonna
kill
fuck
the
Kuma Bear.
show. I mean, I'm not
Uh-huh.
surprised at this. You know, the police standoff is still happening. I killed Kuma Q, and now they know I mean business. And next week, I'm going to have 2 more hostages I can off to get them to back off. And after that, there will be no roads end, and the police officers known as Gilly and Dalron will finally have their try at me.
I'm sorry to say, but it's already too late. We poisoned your water.
It's okay. The show I marry will run away and save me. Will run me away and save me. But you'll have to wait 2 weeks to figure out what show I marry.
Stop jingling your keys.
I'm
But
jingling them.
before you think about marriage, I'm gonna borrow from a Helsing joke. Ah, me, but that's where you're wrong. Where you see 2 officers, I see 4. And we just blow your fucking house up.
The sweet release I finally crave.
Oh my god.
I don't have to
I'll
watch
be
Kuma
damned if I
Bear
let
anymore.
you go before I do.
I don't have to watch Kuma Bear anymore, not in the afterlife. Unless they send me to hell, then I might have to.
Gilly, what are you giving the show?
He already said he was
I'm
gonna fuck
fucking
it.
this show. I like Kumo Bear. It make me happy.
It makes me happy too. I watched it because I was having a bad day and it cheered me up. So, let's see. I pretty much get over my notes. I'll just do my closing thoughts after a yawn. So, for first things, Yuna finally has a weakness. We know what it is. It's water. She doesn't have water breathing, she doesn't have water walk, and she can't fly. So, the thing that stops a bear is an ocean or sea.
Bears are very good swimmers. I imagine she's just gonna stand on Kuma Q and Kuma Yuru.
1 foot on each. The Kuma raft.
Yep.
Yeah, well, maybe she's even just gonna gain water breathing, water walk, and fly abilities. She doesn't have them yet. But
What if she just gets a gun? Like she just pulls out a Glock M9 that's shaped like a bear.
rocket bear rocket launcher.
She's going to create an entire galleon, and it's going to be powered by Kuma.
She's gonna make a bear-shaped submarine.
Can I just point out that the alternative title for this anime is Bear 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 Kuma?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
This is why humans can't have nice things. Well, that
No,
and the Critical Role fan base.
Anyway, I found it odd to have. I did find it odd to have an establishing episode this late into the season, like establishing the setting, the plot, the world, the characters all over again, and I was like, huh. But I guess like we now know what the last 2 episodes will be about. We're getting this mini arc with fight the Kraken, purge the corrupt bandits, and return with tasty umi food, all the tasty bounties of the sea. There's one more note that I wanted to make on the show, and it's that I appreciated this little moment where it was somber when Yuna arrives to the town and sees how miserable and hungry and desolate everyone is. And she's just like, wow, no one is commenting on my appearance. I guess we do live a good life in Cassandria or whatever the city they're from and in the capital, in the kingdom. And, just, I appreciate the highlight because, like, all the people walking down be like, oh, it's a bear, it's a bear. Like, they don't have anything else to worry about while these people, every minute, like, every hour is spent worrying when the next meal will come. Which, again, this show, for moe adorable isekai trash, hits, kind of touches, doesn't hit it, just touches upon some interesting, somber, and serious topics. I'm fucking this show. It makes. I was having a rough week. This show helped. I'm gonna stay with it. I'm gonna stay with it.
Are we able to nominate a living show for the Lich Award?
Rude, because then Gilly would be nominating Adachi Shimomura, and his contempt for that show
Fair,
out.
fair. I guess Tabi Tabi will just have to win that award then.
Oh, that makes me really sad.
It's the only one I see you two fuckers voting on.
King's Raid.
You would only vote King's Raid because it lived on one wheel. And Tabi Tabi lived on that wheel too.
But yeah, with Fuck Kill Fuck, or I guess Kill Fuck Fuck from
I guess there was 2 weeks where Fruit Tart could have died, so
ugh. Just reminding me of all the bad shows. Everything lives yet again, huh?
I mean, Zerst can't really qualify for that because it died on the very episode it qualified for death.
Mm-hmm. So
Well,
yeah, I do believe that's all the shows then, yeah?
Yeah. Do we want to do a graveyard tour this week? Gilly?
Yes.
Sometimes I
can
forget. Go
I
ahead,
can
Gilly.
do a quick summary.
Yeah, go for it. Also, sometimes I forget that there's no cameras, this is just audio, and I shrugged, and I'm like, oh right, no one saw that.
Yeah, I can give a quick summary of both last and this week's episodes.
Let's start with Fruit Tart. Let's get the bad out of the way first. As Gilly cracks open the first coffin.
Ojigabori Fruit Tart. Both last week and this week's episode. Last week was all about curry.
What?
Oh, the first half was
Did you say curry
no
or furry?
curry.
Oh, me and me both
Okay.
heard furry.
They made curry.
Was it cute?
They made special curry.
Why
It
special?
actually last week's episode was actually really cute. It had a few rough moments, but it was actually really cute in general. And then we had just very cute, them making curry, them having a good time, and it looked beautiful, and then it turned out tasting awful because they put sea urchin and king crab and something else in it,
Oh no, baby, what is you doing?
and it was sea urchin and king crab out of a can.
Hmm.
That's usually not very good. At least the sea urchin, like that's one of the things that you really need fresh.
I've never eaten sea urchin
But yeah,
before.
it was last week's episode was cute and it was nice. There was definitely some rough moments, but it was for the most part really nice. And there was a really weird after credit scene
Uh,
where the two characters we see, we have the lead producer over at Cat Productions, and usually in the opening we see her with this little blonde girl. Yeah, that's not a little girl, that's just a straight up lolly because she is the president of Cat Productions.
oh, how old is she?
They have not said, but she is. Yeah, it's weird. They set up this really foreboding scene, which I don't know why.
Huh.
But yeah, that's what they did with last week's episode. It was actually fairly nice.
Don't they already have Broco and Kiwi for the lollies.
No, Kiwi's actually super underaged.
They're both young.
You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head.
But yeah, that was last week's episode. This week's episode, we had a concert.
So we
It was
actually got
actually not
music.
bad. Yeah, there's a nice little bit of music, and I don't know why, but it feels like they've let up on the weirdness. They're not doing it as much now, but they've waited until the dead end of the entire thing to start doing that.
It's so they can have an actual sex scene on the last episode. Just wait.
I mean, you still got the really weird thing with her all about Ino Senpai, but that'll never stop. That's just a running gag, along with the pee jokes.
There are more P jokes.
Only one.
It's not even a good fetish.
Well then.
Oh my god, what a stance to take.
Good fetish. And they're underage characters.
It's just what a
She
stance
has
to
a
take.
nervous bladder. I have a nervous bladder.
Yes, why do they have to make piss jokes about it?
If it's a joke,
Yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
kind of all I can really sum up with those. Both of these last two episodes were very straightforward and honestly a lot more tame, like it was at the beginning of the series.
There's at least that. What about King's Raid? Has King's Raid done anything for you?
So yeah, I'm trying to remember last week's episode because it's been a bit. Uh, oh Jesus Christ, what happened with last week's episode? It's not. It was fresh in my mind last week.
It was the one
Oh,
episode.
more Dark Elves. Last week was all Dark Elves again. And it actually got really emotional and sad because it shifted focus off our main Dark Elves to you might remember the younger looking one with the bandana on his forehead.
Right, didn't he get like
Yeah.
fucked up
Yeah, so I told you before, he got beaten to shit
by
in a
like
previous a few episodes back
by the townsfolk, right?
by some like a yeah, some bandits hired by a noble. One of the people that patched him up is this girl that works in the bakery, and that entire episode is just sort of like his sort of crush on her and talking to her, and they have a nice little picnic over on the bench and by a little pond, and it's really cute and sweet.
Was it the bench that
And then
what's her name?
then it kinks you right in the stomach.
Wait, why? What happened?
Do the townsfolk kill her?
No, one of the sister of the main dark elf comes up to him and says if he wants to leave the troop to be with this woman, she won't stop him, but she will kill him if he tries to stop her brother's plans. And he thinks about it and ends up telling this girl he's really likes and is really sweet on, just he can't see her, he can't have anything to do with her. It hurt me.
This
Aw.
girl, is she a human girl? Like, is she one of the townsfolk girls?
Yes.
Aw.
Yeah, she was one of the people that patched him up. It was really cute, it was really sweet, and it hurt. It was
Aw.
like the most emotion this show's evoked out of me, and it made me upset.
I thought it was going to go the route of the townsfolk slaughtered her for protecting a dark elf.
No. And then
No, that happens next episode.
actually next episode we actually got to see what orcs look like.
Oh my god.
They don't
Are they
just
actual
look like people. They look like they actually look like they are very similar to the artistic style of Japanese oni.
Okay.
They are gigantic. They have weird like horns and curved tusks and crazy looking armor and weapons and hair.
Do you have
Okay.
a screenshot that you can share?
I don't. I was watching it
Okay.
last night and I just didn't get any.
Meep, you're gonna have to go into Google and be like, King's Raid
And it
works.
was
Oh, sorry.
but yeah, it was this entire last episode was just all about it was just all about them trying to gain favor with these orcs and prove themselves worthy. That's
Was
all
it
it
through a
was,
test of strength?
honestly. Uh, strength and will. One of them, they did the stereotypical thing. One of them swung down a weapon right at Castle's head and stopped short of him, and Castle just didn't flinch. And they did. There was more. There was a lot more too. It was a lot of just stereotypical tests of strength and will kind of stuff. Nothing too stand out. It was nice. I like the orcs, and it was pretty simple and straightforward. And we did get to see our big bad once again, the necromancer who resurrected himself with the demon lady.
Oh, Evil Twilight
Them
Sparkle?
just talking.
Was there any good fights?
Not really this episode.
Hmm.
There was a little bit of fighting in the beginning, but it quickly just stopped.
Well, down into the graveyard. Well, down in the graveyard it stays.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna watch it. So
Anything else you want to drop off on King's Raid? Personal recommendations, stellar notes, interracial heartbreak.
that was really well written, and it hurt me, and I'm impressed by it. I don't know. I like the series. I like how it's going. It's gonna be just as long as Jujutsu Kaisen, so it's 24 episodes.
Good fucking luck. Why don't you just download the fucking game? That came out more aggressive than I
Because
wanted to.
absolutely not.
Why not? Don't you want to get down to the gotcha?
No, I don't.
the day Jujutsu Kaisen the day Jujutsu Kaisen dies is the day you two have made a grave error.
Get it? Grave? Because graveyard tour?
Fuck you! I didn't even mean to make a pun.
Alright. Shall we talk about Tabi Tabi and call it a night?
Yes, last episode was great. It was all Sheila, all Fran. When they were back before they were full witches, they were apprentices under Nikke. Sheila being Saya's master, and Fran being, well, Elena's master. No Elena this episode until like the very end where you see her going to the town in the episode. But it's all about how Fran and Sheila go to a town and stop the COVID company, where apparently they've been smuggling magic items, stealing magic items, and giving mages a bad name. It's an interesting idea. Fran and Sheila intentionally get caught, and they eventually duke it out with the company, and they put them in jail. But apparently, a box from that company got into the hands of Saya, who is taking it to that town, to the Mage Guild there.
First of all, it's the Curio company, not the COVID company.
I made the mistake again. It sounds like they say that in the wording.
Yeah.
Either way,
Meep hit me up
Then
and
the
was
next
just like, "Hey, I really like this episode of Tabi Tabi. There's no Elena. You'll like it too." And I was like, "Okay, I'll watch it." And I watched it and I was like, this is fine. Why doesn't Fran just punch her in the face? Just
because
punch
that's
her in
not
the
who Fran
face.
is. That's not who Fran is. It's the whole meme of it's what my character would do. Then why did you make your character like that? Then the angry eyebrows.
Yeah, but that could be said about Blonde Witch, Night Witch.
I shrug.
What was her name? Stella?
Sheila.
No.
Sheila.
Sheila? Yeah, Sheila. I I have a tough female character who's antagonistic or at least abrasive. She was just horrible. I get it. She's like, she's like a rapscallion from the streets, but like she was just terrible to Fran, and I don't understand why Nikke took her as an apprentice witch.
She saw the good in her.
Both of their motivations were very selfish. So like, what's Nikke's deal?
Nikke is also very selfish. She asked, like Elena, she asks what the pay of the job is first.
Fair enough. I guess they're all birds of a feather then.
Listen, in episode 1 it was established mages are selfish people, okay?
The town was really
then,
pretty though. The town was
yeah.
beautiful.
And then the second episode, which can only be described as the incest episode.
Yeah, we're back to
That was
weird.
so bad.
It didn't have to be a two-parter. Why was it a two-parter?
Because everything is about Elena. And I get it, like this is a narrative traveling journey show, like traveler show, so we need Elena to be connected to everything. I don't like Elena.
I need to read the manga. The manga must be better. Because the manga is beloved. This show still gets a really good rating, and it has to be from people that are blind from having read the manga. It has to be.
Or they just really want Elena Sama to step on them.
Why couldn't you have locked Delaron, why couldn't you have locked the bridal anime where the guy gets slammed by a truck and wants to go out with the girl, but she'll only go out with him if he marries her? I want to watch that anime because I've heard really good things.
Yeah, the town is really pretty. The water is really pretty. The seagulls are CGI. I was meh about that. The broom motorcycle that Sheila rides is both cool and gaudy. Her design's dope though. I like her whole admiral jacket and like white cloak and hat. I thought that was a cool touch. The second episode, we meet Saya's sister, who is the more mature one, question mark, until the criminals come back and are like, this girl looks dumb as fuck, talking about Elena. We're gonna switch bodies with her and Saya, who's carrying the magical box, and she seems stupid enough to open a box she's holding in her hands. And they do that, and Elena fucking does it, because apparently Elena's a fucking dumbass.
Yes,
and then
I liked that. I liked the show being mean-spirited to Elena. They need to bring her down more instead of jerking her off.
they brought her down perfectly after the time traveling child sociopath,
Yeah.
not sociopath, psychopathic killer, sociopath too. Yeah, she's sociopathic, not psychotic. Anyway, yeah, no, just, I, again, it's my issue with the show. Nothing mattered. And even the whole reveal that, yes, Fran is the student of Nikke. And then Elena figures it out, question mark? But she doesn't want to do anything because it scares her, question? Like, what the I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't...
Also, Saya's sister wants to, like, fuck her. Saya's sister wants to fuck Saya. She's holding back sexual feelings toward her and wants to kiss her on the lips, and what the fuck?
Okay, so to explain, a smog gets put into the city because of the box, and it apparently brings out people's deepest rooted desires for others. And apparently Saya's little sister says that she wants to have sex with Saya.
To be specific, it's that the fog brings out the feelings inside of people toward other people. And the stronger someone's feelings are of like respect and admiration, the stronger the sexual or infatuation desires will be. That's her sister.
Yep, and even after, she's very jealous of Elena because Saya is in love with Elena. She, at every step, it goes to reinforce, no, she actually feels this way about Saya.
Is that what that was? I thought she was just being protective because Elena's hurting her sister's feelings in the end. I just wanted to get over that scene. Also, Elena gut punches her and she stays out for the whole day.
Mm-hmm. Though she gut punches her in Saya's body, so Saya pumps the iron, I guess.
Well, I guess her little sister got fisted by her older sister just the way she wanted.
That's been the graveyard tour.
Can we go see? Can we?
Change the topic, but what Dalaran has said will never be unheard.
That's been tonight's episode of FMK Anime. I would like to thank all of our viewers for joining. I would also like to thank my brother, Gilly, and my father, Dalaran, for coming here. Well, Dalaran may not be my biological father. He is my sugar daddy. I'm expecting that PS5.
I'll be your FMK daddy.
Where's my PS5, fuckhead?
No. Wait, I can do a better take on that. I'll be your FMK daddy. So, thanks for coming, everyone. As always, it's been Dalaran here with twitch.tv/Dalaran Quest. DALARON Quest. Catch us playing Outer Worlds. Catch us playing Baldur's Gate 1, not 3, because I decided it's fun to go back to classic RPGs and see storytelling. Otherwise, yeah, just hanging out in the week. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for coming with us. Meep, Gilly, thank you. This has been a blast. I may be tired, but this is a fun tired.